Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV. Back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I hope you had a great day overall, man. I'm back at y'all with some more boxing talk. You feel what I mean? We got some things that we currently need to discuss that went on in the boxing world, that's currently going on in the boxing world. You see what I'm saying? We're going to talk about Fabio Wardley getting the upset, stopping Joseph Parker, the number one contender in the heavyweight division. Then, of course, we're going to talk about Fabio Wardley shortly afterwards, calling out Alexander Usyk. We're going to talk about the Tom Aspinall versus Gane situation, the no contest that had unfolded, today as well. Then, of course, we're going to get into some open boxing topics. But before we get into that, if y'all could please hit the like button on the way in, that'd be very much appreciated. We're on the road to 4K, well into the 3,200 mark, about to hit that 3,300 mark in due time. Shout out to the nation and the mob for making this possible. My apologies, y'all. I had an early show that was scheduled initially today, 10 o'clock. Man, my son was giving me a hard time going to bed. He actually fell asleep in bed with me instead of falling asleep on his own. We both fall asleep. I wake up, it's 10:40. So I've literally only been awake for like 8 minutes. I completely forgot about that. I mean, I didn't forget about the show, but I completely slept past the time frame that the show was supposed to start. My apologies in advance for that, but the positive behind that is that I won't be tired, even though I look it. And we're gonna have a lengthy show today, man. Shout out to the nation, shout out to the mob for coming through regardless. You know what I mean? And showing love. I see a shit ton of comments, man. There's comments been rolling there since 9:30. My apologies for that. Marissa Alvarez with the first comment of the day. What's going on? What's going on? Teach, what up? The Stranger, what up? Smoochie. Let me see. Lee Jackson, what up? Go 787, what up? Lorenzo, showing love from Japan. What's going on, brother? R3, what up? King of Brooklyn, what up, man? Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to my Brooklyn folks. What up? Shay, what's going on? Agent 86. Coffee Plant. One of the day ones. One of my favorite people. What's going on, brother? How we feeling? How we feeling? I can't complain, y'all. How we feeling? How we feeling? Let me know. What's on your mind? Anything y'all got on your minds? Y'all see this cup right here, man? I'm filling up. I'm feeling exquisite. Stupendous. Like Eubanks Sr. would say. The breeze is absolutely stupendous. Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Yeah. And this motherfucking drank stupendous too. My nigga finally got a cup. No, you know what I mean? It depends on how we feeling, Justin. Depends on how we feeling. Sometimes we just, when you the motherfucking man in the house and you ain't got a motherfucker in this, let me stop cursing, man. Cause my son started to say curse words and shit. That shit is killing me. But when you the man of the house, you could drink out of whatever you want. Let's get it, champ. My girl leaving her hookah around. You know what I mean? Hold on. We with the smoke too. My smoke, my motherfucking drink. I'm feeling it. Let's go, champ. Fuck you mean, nigga? Absolutely stupendous. Oh shit, that shit done fuck my chest up. That was a little bit too much smoke for me. All right. That's why I don't smoke, because I can't handle shit like that. But I did it for y'all, man. What's going on? Hit them likes, bro. Hit them likes. We got some things that we need to discuss, man. Oh, my God, that Fabio Wardley, bro. I knew that motherfucker was tough. Just watching over some fights. I was slightly concerned, but I thought Joseph Parker's experience, I thought his overall boxing ability, the skill set, I thought that was going to be enough, people. I thought it was going to be enough. Fabio Wardley proved the motherfucker wrong. And at this point, especially when you in a heavyweight division, you can know so much and not know a motherfucking thing when it comes to the sport of boxing. I tell you, bro, I was so confident that Joseph Parker was going to pull it off. And I ain't going to lie, I had him winning up until that moment. I had him slightly above Fabio Wardley. Age 86, that Parker is known to have trouble with power punches. I mean, his, from his previous fights, yes, but I feel like Joseph Parker has learned from those fights. And as much as you can say that he's had trouble with power punches, I've seen him, handle power punches. You see what I mean? I've seen that man get off the canvases against, Julie Zhang and win the fight. I seen him go 12. I seen him go the distance with one of the biggest punches of our era in Deontay Wilder. I seen that happen. So as much as, historically, yes, you know what I mean? He got stopped by Joe Joyce. Yeah, I get it. But I actually seen the man learn from his mistakes and actually get better to the point where it was nobody else that was more qualified for a shot at undisputed other than Joseph Parker. And here comes Fabio Wardley just setting the motherfucking record straight. Damn. First of all, it was a great fight. Great fight overall. Very, very entertaining, man. Didn't like how the way it ended. We're going to get to that. But very, very, very entertaining fight. We seen a fight where neither one of them got knocked down. Neither one of them had gotten knocked down. However, both guys got hurt multiple times throughout the fight. You see what I mean? I'm watching Fabio Wardley. He's strong. Got some good hand speed too. Looked like he had the faster hands out of the two. You know what I mean? But Joseph Parker, you could tell he was the more intelligent guy. You know what I mean? You could also tell that he was somebody who happened to be in better shape than Fabio Wardley. I'm going to say that. But at the same time, Fabio Wardley wasn't in necessarily terrible shape, because just when you think that he was going to fatigue and Joseph Parker was going to drown him, it's like he get another spurt of energy and put together a good shot or two that seemed to trouble Joseph Parker and then have him on the back foot. It was a constant tug back and forth between the two. Like the tug of war where, the left, the one side looked like they're about to, reel it in to get the victory. Then all of a sudden the right side, they get a good little series of pulls going on. That's exactly what it reminded me of. You see what I'm saying? Fabio Wardley had that lead hand down, very susceptible to right hands. I seen Joseph Parker throughout the fight double and triple up on right hands. It was having success. I also seen Joseph Parker have, a lot of success with his left hook as well. I felt like both of those shots was getting inside. And like I said, and I seen Fabio Wardley talk about he wasn't hurt. And it's like he was never hurt throughout the fight. He would just get hit and going backwards. And it was like, Fabio, you got a great win, brother. You ain't got to sit here and lie. You feel what I mean? Because what Emmanuel Stewart say, the legs don't lie. You see what I mean? There's a few instances where Joseph Parker definitely rocked your belt. And it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Because you was able to, withstand the power. You was able to get through that. And you actually hurt Joseph Parker visibly throughout the fight as well, to the point where you was able to get the stoppage. Now, did I think that the stoppage was the best? Absolutely not. Do I think the stoppage was premature? In a way, yes. You know what I mean? And we don't know exactly what the referee saw, but at the same time, we can't really be full-on mad at the referee, because Joseph Parker literally was not throwing any punches to respond to Fabio Wardley's volume. Now, because that stoppage went the way it went, now it's got me questioning as a fan. Because I seen Joseph Parker pretty much go through the fire the entire fight, it made me question whether if the referee would have let it go, if Joseph Parker would have been able to, make a comeback. Who's to say, Fabio Wardley, after the fact didn't, pause, shoot his load. That's a super pause, by the way. That's crazy. But let's say he gets tired after throwing that, those series of punches. He was tired throughout the fight. That probably would have been, the last amount of gas that he had left, considering it was, the 11th round? What if Joseph Parker would have been able to get through that? And then due to Fabio Wardley being tired, Joseph Parker steps on the gas is able to stop Fabio Wardley. It could have been possible. On the other hand, that referee stoppage really prevented Fabio Wardley, if capable, finishing Joseph Parker and making a huge statement for the heavyweight division. It's a statement regardless because it was an upset. A lot of us thought Joseph Parker was going to get the W, including myself, right? So Fabio Wardley doing this, he proved a lot of people wrong. He made a statement in the heavyweight division. And to be real, outside of, the undisputed champion, Alexander Usyk, Fabio was now that guy. You see what I'm saying? My boy teaching the building, he says, I had Parker up 7-3 before the stoppage. It was the 11th round. He was in the ropes trying to defend with movement. I saw let the fight continue. He wasn't necessarily moving towards the end of that, series of punches that Fabio was throwing. I seen Joseph Parker sitting on the ropes, with his hands up. He was conscious, but at the same time, because he refused to throw punches or just didn't throw punches. I don't know if it's refused or just didn't do it. He gave the referee a reason to stop the fight. And that's why, as a boxing coach, I was just talking to my boy Ghost787 about this on the gram. Shout out to Ghost. He was like, he didn't necessarily agree with that stoppage. And I'm like, yo, bro, I feel you. I understand where you're coming from, because it was kind of an ending where I was like, come on. Like, you could have let a few more seconds go by. It was the 11th round, man. Joseph Parker, he a former champion, top contender of the division. Let that man try to get through this situation. But at the same time, you should never, and I say this to my fighters all the time, you should never give a referee a reason to stop the fight. Don't ever make the referee make a crucial decision like that throughout the fight. And when you're not letting your hands go and a guy is wailing on you, you know what I mean, throwing punches, and you're not responding in a timely fashion, you giving the referee, who already has a lot of pressure on him. A lot of people don't really talk about what referees have to go through throughout the course of a fight, just making sure they're being fair, making sure, and there's some referees that are absolutely terrible decision makers. And we might have seen that tonight. But Joseph Parker not throwing punches in that moment fucked him over in this fight. If he would have been throwing punches with Fabio Wardley, he might have made a difference and might have got the referee to back up a little bit. You see what I mean? But he didn't do so. So because you gave that referee, you made the referee come up with this choice to stop the fight. It is what it is. Joseph Parker got to go back to the drawing board, understand what he did wrong. And if Fabio Wardley isn't able to get this fight with Alexander Usyk immediately next, I would love to see a rematch between the two. We've seen Joseph Parker. I love Joseph Parker's jab in this fight. I thought he could have used it more, to be honest with you. But when he was jabbing and he was creating hooks off the jab, I was seeing him landing clean shots. I seen Fabio Wardley overcommitting the shots and running into right hands that definitely got his attention. I seen Fabio Wardley run Joseph Parker into some shots. You know what I'm saying? Because he was showing a little bit of ring intelligence in there too, in the counterpunching department. Not frequently, but he definitely showed it. You see what I mean? Joseph Parker was slipping and countering with the right hand and caught Fabio Wardley with some fucking crushing shots, bro. And Joseph Parker never been the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division, but at the end of the day, he's a heavyweight, and we've seen him get stoppages. So the fact that Fabio was actually able to walk through these shots, very impressive to me. That was a hell of a fight. One of the most entertaining fights of the year. When we do the Mazuma TV Awards and we talk about fight of the year, if they don't get that, they might be an honorable mention, or most likely be an honorable mention, because goddamn, that was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. And Fabio Wardley, man, he's a motherfucking gangster. Joseph Parker, you a gangster, bro. The fact that you was even willing to face Fabio Wardley, who we all knew was dangerous in the lead up to this fight. We all said that in the chat. We all said this on the live. We all knew Fabio was dangerous. We thought you had him, and you could have had him. You feel me? You know, I think in a rematch, you might even do some more damage. And you could possibly, I think Joseph Parker could actually win the rematch if he just makes a little bit of adjustments. Now that he's aware of who Fabio is, I think he'll be more prepared. And I think in the rematch, he can actually pull it off. And this might even lead to a trilogy. And that shit will be a great trilogy for boxing if the second and third fights are as exciting as the first one. I forgot exactly what I was on. I'm just really just spilling out what's on my mind right now. I've been waiting to say this since, the fight, transpired. But Fabio, you's a gangster, brother. I watched you go through some shit in that ring. Now, one moment, I see you get rocked. I see you get put on the back foot. I see you run into some crushing shots, big shots. And you definitely got flaws. You admitted it in the ring. You admitted it in your post-fight interview. But, man, your mental fortitude is admirable, brother. Admirable. I'm going to say that. Admirable. Something to really respect, because we seen guys, your fellow UK brothers. I think Fabio's from the UK. No disrespect. You know what I'm saying? I know you got you from the UK. You feel what I'm saying? We seen your fellow brothers in the UK actually fold under pressure. You know what I mean? We seen fighters from the UK quit. No disrespect. I mean, people quit all over the place, all over the world in boxing. But, you made a good showing of yourself. You made a good showing of yourself. I watched you walk through fire, bro, and you ain't even flinch. So I got a shit ton of respect for Fabio, man. Actually became somebody that I grew a lot of respect for in this fight. And to be real, you might be one of my favorite heavyweights right now, just based off of that performance alone. I like what I saw. Joseph Parker, I seen him go through I seen him get, be in the trenches with guys and come out successful. He definitely need to hold his head up. I hope that he's still able to get the opportunity. It sucks that, he didn't get his ultimate, he didn't get his moment of truth. He didn't get his big fight prior to Fabio Wardley, but I commend him for taking this fight regardless, because it was a hell of a risk. And that just shows how hungry Joseph Parker was and how confident he was in his abilities. I hope this doesn't discourage Joseph Parker in any shape, form, or fashion. I want to see him get back, get back in. You know what I mean? You coming off of a loss, unfortunately, Daniel Dubois coming off of a loss. I think y'all two will actually be a great fight to I don't know if it'll necessarily be next, but that'll be a great fight to see. You know what I mean? Whoever racks up a couple wins between you two, by then probably Alexander Usyk will be retired, or at least, on his way out, and then we can see y'all fight for a world title. The winner of y'all two. I think this, both of y'all guys coming up short in y'all previous fights. I think that'll lead y'all on a crash course to face each other sometime soon in 2026, hopefully. There's still some great fights for Joseph Parker, and he still has an opportunity to become a world champ. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he's already done it. Daniel Dubois, he's already done it. You feel what I mean? So y'all already accomplished some great things in the sport. However, there's an opportunity to create history once again. So I love what I saw, man. Great fight, man. I had Joseph Parker up too. I had him up by a few rounds. If he had made it to the 12th and saw the final bell, I think he would have pulled off a unanimous decision, to be honest with you. But Fabio Wardley, he did what he had to do to make sure that the judges didn't get involved, but made the referee get involved. So shout out to Fabio Wardley. He called out Alexander Usyk after the fight. I think that's a great fight. You know what I mean? Because I'm actually consistent with my point of view. I thought Joseph Parker was the one who deserved the opportunity more than anybody else. Fabio Wardley beat that man. So, based off of that, my logic just tells me, let's see Fabio versus Alexander Usyk. He beat the number one contender in the division. He becomes the number one contender. He needs to face Alexander Usyk next. You see what I mean? Now, what do I necessarily think of the fight between Alexander Usyk and Fabio Wardley? I think that's a fight that's a great. I think it's a great style matchup in favor of Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk not going to have to find the dude. Fabio Wardley is extremely flawed, especially defensively, and with Alexander Usyk's respectable power, I think it's safe to say is his accuracy, his counter-punching ability. Not only that, he actually counters in combinations, giving you the illusion that he's in range when he actually isn't. Could step out within, could step out of range or get out of range within, milliseconds and then come back with sharp counters. I think that'll really puzzle Fabio Wardley. I think he puzzles. I think he really figures out Fabio Wardley's game in the early rounds. I see Alexander picking him apart. I see Alexander stopping Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley is very tough, but you don't need to be a bitch to get knocked out. You can still be tough and get stopped in that motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying? So love that fight. And I was saying earlier, I felt like Fabio Wardley versus Daniel Dubois would be a banger. That would be a banger. Now, Fabio Wardley, he got more heart than Daniel Dubois. We know that. Probably take a better shot than Daniel Dubois as well. However, Daniel Dubois has shown through his history to bounce back well coming off of losses, turning, getting momentum back on his side. And most importantly, he has the punching power to get Fabio's respect and possibly knock him out if he catches him with a good shot. Joseph Parker may be the more skilled fighter than Daniel Dubois, but he not cracking like Daniel Dubois. And considering the fact that I seen Fabio get rocked by Joseph Parker multiple times throughout the fight, if Daniel Dubois gets the opportunity, I think he could do the same. So that's a very competitive fight as well, man. Fabio Wardley just made himself a huge name in the heavyweight division. His stock just shot through the roof. I commend him for that, man. He took the opportunity against Joseph Parker. And for real, neither one of them had to fight each other. Joseph Parker could have sat back and waited for his opportunity, or at least took a light touch before he got that Alexander Usyk fight. Fabio Wardley, didn't have to fight Joseph Parker, but he wanted to take that step up to actually prove himself because, prior to Joseph Parker, he didn't really beat anybody notable. So, salute to both of these guys for taking the fight. Shout out to both guys for making it an entertaining fight. And, man, I was watching that shit in the Target, and I was going crazy in aisle 7. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought Joseph was going to stop him. Then I watch and I see Fabio hurt Joseph Parker. I see his legs, a little tweak on him a little bit, but then I see Joseph Parker come back in the mix and then like Fabio, like he like grazed him. He grazed him with a hook and he hurt Joseph Parker. I'm like, damn. And Joseph Parker was really in the fire with Fabio. He was having some success, but I just didn't like the fact that Fabio was still strong in them later rounds, and he kept catching the shots with the high guard. I wasn't really too fond of that, man. I think Joseph Parker should have used his legs a little bit more. I did notice that Joseph Parker, he seemed a bit heavier than what he has been traditionally. he just looked bigger, and I don't know if the additional weight had him sluggish or incapable of using his legs. Yeah, within his last couple of fights, he's been a lot heavier. Like you jumped from 247 to 267. Then with Fabio, you was 262. So regardless, you put on about 15 pounds within 2 fights. I don't know why. Yeah, you can actually see it like in his like his abdominal area too. He looked a bit heavy. You said he maintained the speed, yeah, but I do think in the later rounds, I think that actually was cooking him, and I think he should have used his legs more in terms of lines of defense for Fabio. You can't really be taking shots on a high guard against big punches like that because even though you catching the shots, they still wearing away on you. They still wearing away on your elbows, your forearms, your hands, your shoulders. That's not really ideal. You know what I'm saying? So I think that he should have been able to use his legs a little bit more. He should have been a little bit more agile. I think that would have helped him in the long run. And that was the thing about Fabio. Even though he was tired, his punches were still fast, still strong, still had some steam on him. So, as long as Fabio has that quality, he's not getting knocked out, he's game. You see what I mean? Especially with Fabio's punching power. That's a tough motherfucker, but with a name like Fabio, you better be tough. That's all I know. With a name like Fabio, motherfucker, you better be tough. So shout out to Wardley, man. He put on a great performance, bro. What they say in the UK, I know Joseph Parker is gutted. You know what I mean? He's upset. Of course he should be, but Joseph, you've been here before. You know what I mean? This isn't your first professional L. You know what it takes to get back in the mix. You know that there's not many people in the world, especially in the heavyweight division, that are better than you. So take some time, rest, because y'all definitely got hit with some shit. You know what I mean? Take some time, rest, chill with your family, chill the rest of 2025, man. Don't even worry about the jump. Don't worry about coming back. Just rest. Watch, once you get in a better mind frame, once them wounds heal a little bit, go back to the drawing board, see what you did right, see what you did wrong, adjust, go back to the drawing board, see what you and your coaches, reflect with your coaches and, tighten up and get ready for 2026 because look, we still got guys that's around here. Like you and Anthony Joshua would be a good fight. Because, Anthony Joshua looking to wrap up his career soon. You see what I mean? So he might be looking for a good, fighting partner to fight at the Wembley, the O2, wherever y'all rumbling at in the UK, Riyadh, wherever. You could be available for that. That would be a good fight for you. That'd be a good rematch. You know what I mean? Get some money. You feel what I mean? Yeah, that's good shit. Like I said, the Daniel Dubois fight, that's a fight that you could take. You beat Dubois, you know what I mean? You getting your name mentioned back with the top guys. You beat Anthony Joshua, you get your name back with the top guys. There's still a lot of fights out there for you. There's still some money to be made. There's still statements to be made. And you only 1-2 wins away of being spoken back into that heavyweight title shot conversation. You know what I mean? So it's definitely not the end of the world for Joseph Parker, in my opinion. I just hope that the politics don't interfere with Joseph Parker getting his, possibly last opportunity at the title. You feel me? But shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to Bella Faith. Shout out to Eugene. It was probably to take Fabio's punches better. It might have. Well, I'm going to tell you this. He put on that weight for Daniel Dubois. You see what I mean? Because between when he had fought, I'm looking at BoxRec right now. When he fought Zhang, he was 247, and that's when he experienced some knockdowns by a guy who was damn near 300 pounds. Zhang was 291 and a half. So then he was like, all right, I'm going up against these bigger punchers. He was preparing for Daniel Dubois. He put on some weight. Maybe it was to absorb, possibly Daniel Dubois' shots better. But he ended up facing Martin Bakole, which worked out because that motherfucker was 310 pounds when he fought Joseph Parker. So that worked out. I guess he thought that was a winning formula. Came in with Fabio Wardley, who was also a big puncher, an undefeated big puncher. And, it could have helped him because he might have got stopped earlier if he was, 20 pounds lighter or whatever the case is and got hit with a big shot. He probably wouldn't have responded as well. But I do think it took, it's pros and cons with this shit. You know what I mean? It's pros and cons. According to the scorecards leading into the Fabio Wardley loss, Joseph Parker was up 98-92 on one card. So that means that they was giving him 6 rounds, and they only gave Fabio – wait, I'm sorry, not 6 rounds. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Wait, was it 6? They had a 6-4. Yeah, they had a 6-4 going into the 11th round. One judge had a 96-94, so they had it a little bit tighter. Man, I don't think I'm reading this right. I'm going to just say the numbers. One judge had a 98-92. The second judge had a 96-94, and the other judge had a 95-95. So it was actually close. And it could have ended up being, a fight that if Fabio would have got the last 2 rounds, he probably would have pulled out a split. But regardless, two judges had him up in the lead, going into the 11th round. You know what I mean? So, like I said, shout out to Fabio Wardley. You proved me wrong, brother. I have no problem coming on here and saying that I was proven wrong. I've been proven wrong on multiple occasions on Mazuma TV. So, this ain't nothing new at this point, man. Boxing can surprise you like that, especially in the heavyweight division, where it only takes one punch to change the course of a fight. I feel like that's boxing overall, not just the heavyweight division, but more than any other division that happens in the heavyweight. You feel me? So looking forward to seeing what happens next for Fabio, bro. Now he's 20-0 with a draw, undefeated, top contender, in my opinion, dethroning Joseph Parker from that title. And let's see if Usyk is willing to make the fight happen. I don't see why not. Besides him being a big puncher, I don't see what Usyk is necessarily worried about. Usyk, he hasn't had the longest reign at heavyweight. He doesn't have the most fights at heavyweight, but he's faced some big punches. He faced Daniel Dubois. He faced Derek Chisora, who got good punching power. He faced Anthony Joshua. You feel me? So he knows what these heavyweights, he knows what these big heavyweights punch like. You know what I mean? But he was always able to beat them with his intelligence, with his speed, with his timing, his versatility. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. It just sucks. I just wish that we would have seen Joseph Parker get the opportunity before he lost to Fabio. You feel me? He said, what was the judge's scorecard so I could feel worse about my parlay? 98-92. One judge had Joseph Parker up significantly. The other judge had it 96-94. And then the other judge had it 95-95. So that means, it was only 1-2 rounds away from going in Fabio Wardley's favor anyway. If it went to the scorecards, if Fabio got the 2 rounds in a row, it probably would have been a split decision his way. And if Joseph Parker would have just won one of those rounds, it seems like he would have pulled out. He would have gotten a majority decision or even a unanimous decision, to be real. But it is what it is. That's boxing. The judges don't matter in this instance because Fabio got the stoppage, right? That's the beauty of getting a knockout. When you get the knockout, the judges don't matter. So, yep. Bella said, Winston, he just said it, but you don't want to know. I mean, if I lost the bet, I wouldn't want to know either. You feel me? That's why I don't really bet for the most part. I always lose. And I hate losing. So, yeah, I mean, we're not even going to talk about that. So, great fight. Great fight. Now, I didn't get to watch the Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane fight. But I've been hearing what the people that actually watched the fight. I heard what people done said. I'm hearing people say that Cyril Gane was putting the beats on Tom Aspinall. Shit was getting a little bit, heated in there. Cyril Gane pokes out Tom Aspinall's eyes. Tom Aspinall claims he can't see, and he throws the fight away. And they ruled it a no contest as a result of that. Now, I've been seeing Tom Aspinall get some negative press due to the fact that, you know, there's people in the past, you know, there's been previous fighters like former, you know, two-time two weight class champion Daniel Cormier, aka DC. We seen him go through the same situation and actually continue fighting. You see what I'm saying? So people are like, all right, like we seen fighters go through similar instances and still be able to rumble. So why is Tom Aspinall the exception? You know, Tom, you know, he's standing firm. I seen him yelling at people in the crowd, like, why the fuck are you booing me? You know, I can't see. Like, what is it that you want me to do? So I think a lot of people are writing off Cyril Gane because of how the way he got fried by, you know, we've seen him get dominated by Francis Ngannou. We've seen John Jones choke him out within seconds of being in the octagon with him. So I think a lot of people started to write Cyril Gane off. But when I was watching Cyril Gane, I'm like, this dude is very, very talented, very athletic, good hands, you know, good striking overall. I thought that he was very, very gifted in that in that department. But against certain styles, he was going to have trouble. But from what I was hearing, and y'all tell me if I was wrong, Tom Aspinall had actually went to shoot for a takedown. Cyril Gane stuffed it, and they said he proceeded the punch on Tom Aspinall. Now, I seen that Aspinall was bloody. I seen that. But I want to know exactly what y'all take is on this whole situation. I'm about to see real quick if I could watch it because, you know, it wasn't that long. It was only one round for what I understand. So I'm about to see if I could watch that real quick. And I'm going to give you guys my reaction. I'm not going to share the screen for, you know, copyright purposes. You know what I'm saying? But let me see if I could pull this up. I got live footage. I don't think they could really. Okay. So they starting off pretty fast. Cyril Gane. Tom Aspinall is very, very reckless. I'm gonna say that he comes straight in with his chin in the center line. Cyril Gane is drilled in with a left hand. Got some good kicks. Aspinall is definitely aggressive. He likes to get straight to the point. He doesn't mind taking chances. But with a good striker like Cyril Gane, I'm surprised people didn't really call this earlier. But let's see. The scene's a bit competitive so far. They both having their moments. At this point, Aspinall is actually getting some good shots off, good kicks. Okay, he stuffs the takedown. So I seen that. I see what people talking about. Okay. It's a lot of measuring going on. Aspinall being real aggressive. But neither one are really landing anything significant right now. Let's see. Cyril Gane's jabbing. Aspinall is having trouble finding his offense. You could tell he's switching stances, trying to think in there. Good jab from Gane. Okay. This is high pace for a heavyweight fight. I'm going to say that. Seeing a little spinning kick from Aspinall. Okay. As I'm watching Aspinall, I'm trying to envision John Jones being in there. And I see how he could offset John Jones offensively because Aspinall is very, very he's high work rate, first of all, awkward. It's very hard to predict what he's going to do, and it's probably really hard to time him as well due to him being awkward. He's not conventional at all. So I can see, and he seems to be a bit athletic and, you know, somewhat quick too. So I can see how people think John Jones would lose to him. I'm just hearing what people be saying, not necessarily me. Good jab from Gane. Gane's having some success, for sure. Good footwork. He's circling in there. I'm seeing Aspinall get neutralized offensively, though. He seems like he's a bit confused in there. Let me see what my comments are saying. I'm caught up in the video right now. He said he gave up too quick. Shit got hot too fast. All right, we about to see. I'm going to tell y'all motherfuckers right now if he quit or not. I'm going to keep it real. This fight changed after Aspinall nose started to leak from the jab. Really? Okay. Let's go back to the video. I ain't want to completely shut y'all out. Let me see. Let's keep seeing what's going on. Trying to see exactly what changed. Good fucking jab. I think that's the jab that might have busted him open right there. That was a very flush jab. Good jab. Yeah, I see the blood. So that was a good one. He ran right into it, too, with his hands down. Ooh, that was a good kick from Aspinall, though. Almost knocked Gane down with that kick. Yeah, the blood is pouring. That might have did something to his nose. It might have broke something. Ooh, okay. Now he running into shit from Gane. Okay, I see what y'all talking about. He stops right there. He takes a knee in there. He's holding on to the cage. And the lead up to that, Gane was definitely cracking him with some punches. That was a big shot that had landed a little prior to the eye poke. That was a good jab. Knocked him off balance a little bit. And the eye poke happens. So, yeah, it was definitely getting heated in that. It was getting heated. But what I'm paying attention to is whether Aspinall seems to be willing to fight or not. But his body language is indicating that he's more worried about his eye than fighting right now. That's a bit concerning, I ain't going to lie. Like, I understand he got eye poked. I understand you may need some time to recover from that eye poke because I saw the slow motion and it did look a bit crazy. It looked like he actually poked both eyes. And, you don't ever want to, be on some Michael Bisping shit where you're not, being caring of your eyes and then all of a sudden you lose vision. Like, you don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? But, we and I say this about fighters all the time. They, fighters that quit in boxing, like they'd be like, "Oh, he stopped because he broke his orbital. Oh, he stopped because he couldn't breathe." And it was like, bro, we seen fighters fight with broken jaws, broken orbital bones, torn rotator cuffs, torn biceps. If I see one person do it, then why can't you do it? It's not like they superhuman. You know what I mean? It's not like they did something that was otherworldly. No, they're mere human beings, just like you. But there happens to be people that had a mental fortitude to keep pushing forward, and then there's people who aren't. And I think that's what separates fighters from regular men. The warrior, I think that's what separates the warrior from the man. The warrior, they go up against adversity, they face it head on, and they deal with the consequences that, come as a result of it. And they find a way to still, fight while that's going on. You're battling multiple things as a warrior. You feel what I mean? But a regular man, they face adversity, and they not really willing to do what it takes to really get past that. You know what I mean? They willing to throw that all to the side to attend to that, to deal with that one specific incident. Grease in the eye. That's you petty. You definitely petty. The stranger says, to be fair, everyone has a different pain threshold, Mark. I mean, that's true. That's what I'm trying to say. But can we respect you as much as if you're signing up to be a fighter? I'm sure nobody forced Tom Aspinall to be a fighter. You see what I mean? Nobody forced him to be that. As a fighter, you have to be willing to, face those things, deal with them, and get through the fight. You see what I mean? I think that's why people are upset. And, they like, oh, fans, I'm sure they're like, oh, fans, they just being critical, they're John Jones fans, and they're just, they've never done it before. Yeah, they might have never done it before. But at the same time, we seen fighters in the UFC. Like, I remember they said John Jones, he fought with a broken toe against Chael Sonnen, kept fighting. I'm sure them dudes I've seen dudes like, I seen motherfuckers pass out from a choke, somehow wake up and still win the fight, like Ben Askren. And when Ben Askren got choked out by Robbie Lawler and shit, he went out. He got up and he continued going, and he was actually able to get the. I mean, no, wait, was that? Wait, who was that? No, I'm bullshitting. Who was that? No. Let me go back to Bob Askren and Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler slammed Ben Askren on his head, punched him out. The referee could have stopped it right there. He didn't. Ben Askren stood up to the occasion, got past it, was able to choke Robbie Lawler unconscious, in my opinion. I thought he was able to wake back up, but, I think at that moment in time, he actually passed out. We seen Vitor Belfort hyperextend John Jones' arm with an arm bar, I believe. And John Jones was able to get past that and actually get the victory. Like, we seen fighters go through some controversial shit in there and still win the fight. Like, we've seen it happen. So, yeah, it comes down to who, different people have different pain thresholds. Absolutely. But when you are a fighter, we consider you modern day gladiators, and gladiators, they go through tough shit. What makes them a gladiator for the most part is their mental fortitude, their ability to go through some tough shit and continue pushing forward. So you can't be mad, especially being the heavyweight champion of the world right now in the UFC. I've seen people call Tom Aspinall the baddest man on the planet. Wild to me, but I've seen people call him that, right? So when you have this title, people have certain expectations out of you, right? And I don't think I need to be an MMA expert to know that. There's certain expectations that that are demanded of you, and you must follow through. And if you don't, you will be criticized for it. Respect will be lost for you as a result of that. So I didn't get to watch the fight in this. I didn't get to watch let's continue watching. Let me see what Tom Aspinall is doing. So, and I don't think I'll get in trouble for this because this is like a recording from inside the arena. But the doctor is looking at his eye. It doesn't look like the doctor looked to stop it at all. I think he wants to check in on Tom Aspinall and how he's feeling. He's touching the eye. The doctor's taking a look at it. Cyril Gane's pacing back and forth. This dude is really leaning up against the octagon, holding his eye. It doesn't show me anything that's saying like, oh, he shouldn't be fighting. You feel what I mean? The doctor, he walks out of the octagon. All right, so the video ended, so I can't really see anything outside of that. But yeah, I don't know exactly what happened after the fact. Let me see if I can get a better video. Let me see if I can get a better video. Just touching his eye, touching his eye. Cyril Gane shaking his head. And Cyril Gane like, damn, this is my opportunity to fucking possibly win a heavyweight title. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, man. He went out like a hoe. I'm sorry. He went out like a hoe. Like the motherfucker who's interviewing you, Daniel Cormier, of course, you know, he gonna keep it neutral because that's his job at the end of the day. He not gonna talk crazy to you, but that's somebody who done been through it and fought through it. I think in his very last fight against Stipe, he got actually eye poked. His eye was fucked up. He couldn't see, but he continued fighting. He didn't use that as an excuse to find a way out of the fight. So it's like, let me know some things about Aspinall. That motherfucker has he will only take it so far. That's what I see. And I don't know how he fares against John Jones. I don't know if anybody in the division could beat him. He may very well be the best guy. However, that let me know, just like from a fighter standpoint, because I was a former fighter in my own right, not in the same martial art, but you know what I mean, a fighter nonetheless. And one thing I understand more than anything is the fighter mentality. And me myself, I done got hairline fractures in my wrist, known that in the middle of fighting, and still proceeded to throw the shit. I would like to think to myself as somebody who has a strong mental and is willing to fight through adversity. You know, I've shown that. You feel what I'm saying? Even continue boxing, dealing with a chronic illness that was severe. It wasn't like a light situation. So I would like to think of myself as somebody who had that mental fortitude while they were competing. Tom may be a talented individual, maybe amongst the best in the world, but what that showed me is that he has a limit. There's only so much that he could take before, you know, he's wrapping that shit up. That's what that showed me. You know, Tom could definitely bounce back from that. He could learn from that, build, you know, learn to fight through those situations. But that wasn't a good look. I understand that the eye poke was nasty, but this is fighting, J.A. This is the fight game. Not everything's gonna be pretty. You know, people get eye poked. Some people get head butted. You know, people get hit while they're down. Like I remember when John Jones had kneed what was that guy name, man? He had kneed him while he was on the fucking ground. What was his name? Bald head dude. He actually kneed. That could have been a DQ right there, but the dude continued to fight instead. You feel me? What was that guy's name? Anthony Smith. Thank you. And he fought, he fought through it when he could have got a DQ win against John Jones. No, not Matt Hamill. I know who you're talking about, though. Not Matt Hamill. But a similar situation happened between John Jones and Matt Hamill, and that's why John Jones had that one L on his record. I know what you're talking about. But I was referring to Anthony Smith. But shout out to Lorenzo. Not everything in the fight game is going to be pretty. Knockouts are pretty. Finish, submissions may be pretty. Punt combinations and all. But there's some ugly things that come with the fight game as well. You know what I'm saying? And whether things are pretty or ugly in there, you got to find a way to keep going. Now, the doctor would have been like, let's say it was a situation where the doctor was like, nah, you can't fight with this, man. No, I'm gonna stop this. And Tom Aspinall was like, no, let's keep fighting. We would have respected it more because it would have shown that he was willing to fight. It was just out of his control. I feel like in that fight that just happened, it was in Tom Aspinall's hands to continue fighting, and he chose not to. It's all opinion at the end of the day. You feel me? Like, if you feel like he was justified in not fighting, you know what I mean, then it is what it is. But me personally, I've seen fighters deal with worse circumstances, continue to fight, and not only that, but win the fight. I seen motherfuckers with shut eyes win fights. I've seen people with like Wilfredo Gomez. Motherfucker got punched in the throat, tore his vocal cords in a fight. He proceeded to win. Floyd Mayweather had a controversial fight with Jose Luis Castillo. He was fighting with a torn rotator cuff. I've seen fighters with broken hand, like Gervonta Davis. We criticized Gervonta Davis, but he had a hurt hand against Usyk Cruz. Fought through. I seen Gary Russell have who was it that he fought? Was that Mark Sayo? Who was it that he had a terrible shoulder injury against? And a lot of people claim that he won the fight with just one arm. Like, we seen this happen. So when I see other people do it, it was Mark Sayo. So when we see people do these things, is what Aspinall went through really that big of a deal? It seemed like it's doable to fight under those circumstances. You feel me? Like I seen that. Abraham broken jaw versus Edison Miranda. Okay. Ben Rodriguez, when he got his jaw broken, he continued to fight. Like, come on. Like Oscar Valdez, I watched him fight with a broken jaw too. Like, people be going through pain in there. It's how you respond to it. There's certain things that the fans want to know about you. And I feel like tonight, I ain't gonna say Aspinall pussy, but that was a bit shaky, baby. I'll just say that. Shout out to Conceited. My battle rap community. Look a little shaky, baby. I'm just saying. I remember when Jamel Herring, former world champion at 130 pounds, trained by Bo McInerney at the time, lost to Shakur Stevenson. I remember he had a fight against a Puerto Rican. He was signed with Miguel Cotto. And the fight had went. It was who was it? It was I think it was Jonathan Okendo. Jonathan Okendo, right? Jonathan Okendo was giving him work. Wait, who was it? Was it him? It might have been, but due to like the head, like Jamel Herring, like he just straight up didn't want to fight. And I understood he got hit with headbutts and shit like that, but I remember Bo McInerney was like, "Yo, if we stop this fight, will it go to the scorecards?" And the referee was like, "I can't tell you that." So it was just very telling. Like Jamel, he didn't really want to continue fighting after that. And ever since then, I looked at Jamel Herring a little funny. You know what I mean? Like there's certain, some people had their limits. Tom Aspinall, he might be one of them dudes. So it is what it is. What can we do? That's just my opinion on the whole situation. You feel me? I don't know too much about MMA. I don't know too much about the UFC overall. I watch it very casually. He said, "Damn, how many champs Bo Mac team have?" They had Jamel Herring. They had they had Maurice Hooker, right? Or I'm tripping. I believe they had Maurice Hooker. Of course, Bud. I don't know if you want to count the IBO, but they trained Chris Eubank, Keyshawn Davis. I don't know who else really outside of that, but they had their fair share of champions though. They had their fair share of champions. For sure. Shout out to Bo Mack and them. These guys, I be watching these coaches from the outside, and I feel like once you get one world champion, your trainer stock go up so heavy that everybody, and a lot of fighters they disloyal. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna just say that. They'll see a winning team and want to join them because they want to win that bad. You feel me? So it's like once you get one world champion, everybody want to work with you. So now you working with multiple world champions. You feel what I mean? Like I seen that happen with Derrick James. I didn't hear nobody want to train with Derrick James until Earl Spence's name started clicking off, and Earl Spence won the world title, and everybody wanted to work with him. Bozy Ennis, let's just keep it 1,000. Like he was very respected in Philadelphia, but he didn't start getting the notable names over to his stable until Boots became a name. Then, Gerald Miller started coming around. Andy Cruz started coming around. Now Jack Catterall's over there. Stephen Fulton's over there. Like these things happen. You said, I don't see nobody going to work with Coach Calvin or Kenny. Well, there are trainers that are, specifically only worried about one fighter. I know, Coach Calvin was training Lorenzo Simpson, Truck, but, I think Truck was, I don't know. I don't know exactly what Truck's situation was, but he ended up going elsewhere. There's trainers that specifically only want to work with one fighter, Like I was just reading about Vasyl Lomachenko's dad. Like he specifically just wanted to train his son, but because him and Usyk had such a good relationship, he'll make Usyk the exception and get him ready for like big fights and stuff like that. Kenny Porter, you never really you don't really hear about him working with anybody besides his son Sean. There's some trainers that like to just focus on one thing at a time. And is Bo Mack the best team in boxing? I can't say that, but he's definitely, him and his staff are definitely amongst the best for sure. Like I can't say I can't say whether they're best or not. I guess that's opinionated, but there's other great trainers out here. Like Robert Garcia got a great team as well. Huh? You said no, Kenny worked with EJ. You talking about Earl Spence? Oh yeah. Lester Martinez, yep. I think Lester Martinez has a lot of potential. I like how that kid fight. I think that if he boxed a little more, he could beat Billy. I think Lester has an understanding, like, got to box a little bit more. Can't be sitting in the pocket with him because, and Billy, he's a motherfucking machine, bro. Well, I'm gonna say this: just because a coach is working with them in the Olympics, don't necessarily mean that he was training them. Because sometimes, like a trainer can't. The Olympic team, I think USA Boxing selects the trainers for the Olympic team. So they work with that trainer by default. You feel what I mean? Like USA Boxing picks, this person and this person to coach, the male team. Then they'll hire this person and this person to coach the female Olympic team. And, that's how they do it. So it wasn't like Earl voluntarily chose to work with Kenny. That might have just been the coach that was assigned. So that's what he had to deal with. Yeah, and Billy's gas tank was sensational. I ain't going to lie, bro. I was waiting for the Nevada test to come back. I was like, there ain't nothing come out, so we good. I was like, yo, this motherfucking Billy gas tank something serious, boy. Incredible shape. I want to know what his training regimen is. But anyways, we spoke about Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker's incredible fight. The possibility of Fabio Wardley and Usyk happening, of course. Spoke about what's next for Joseph Parker, what he could get done. We spoke about Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. You feel what I mean? It's time for the open boxing topics, man. So let's get into it. You know what I mean? If there's 34 people in the building, there's no reason why we don't have 34 likes in the building. So let me know what it is. What we talking about? What's on the people's mind? Let's actually tap in the boxing scene real quick. Let's see what they got posted up. I ain't gonna lie. I think like Pro Box bought boxing scene and stuff like that. I remember boxing scene just being like a lot more informational. Like from what I recall, it was like they actually did like more research. They did more digging into fighters, and they had like some eye-catching quotes at one point in time. Now it just feels like boxing scene is just telling us shit that we already see like on Twitter and YouTube. And I don't know, I always felt like boxing scene was like a cheat code back in the day, because when I was making videos, they always had like interesting things being said. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But I don't know. Damn, y'all seen this? Danny Gonzalez in that fight with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia's last fight, he suffered a broken jaw, leg, and ankle. Motherfucker broke 3 things in his fight with Danny Garcia, bro. Damn. It says Danny El Gallo Gonzalez revealed that he suffered multiple broken bones in his 4th-round knockout loss to Danny Garcia on Saturday in Brooklyn, New York. He revealed on Thursday afternoon he suffered a broken jaw from the first punch he took moments into the fight. See, so that just goes back to the Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall situation. This nigga just said in the first round, Danny hit him with a right hand and broke his jaw. This nigga kept fighting. No, it was a right hand. See, I told y'all, Danny Garcia punches hard with both hands, bro. With both hands. Like, I know people that spar Danny. I'm in Philly, bro. My gym and Danny gym, like, 15 minutes away from each other. Like, my nigga, everybody I heard that'll spar Danny, they said that his punches feel like cement blocks, like bricks. Everybody I know that I worked with him, bigger guys, smaller guys, they all say the same shit. They like, bro, this nigga's punching power is different. We said Tank say Danny punches hard too, bro. Everybody says it. So it would make sense. Well, anyways, let me keep reading this. I did not know this. I was just talking shit about boxing. They just put me on to something. First round, he clipped me with a right hand and broke my jaw, said Gonzalez. I couldn't bite down on my mouthpiece, but I still tried to fight through it. Man, I mean, he ain't quit because of a broken jaw. He just got knocked out. He said 4 rounds later, my mouth wide open. He landed a left hook, and on the fall, I broke my ankle and leg trying to get up. From that first punch, the fight went downhill. Jesus Christ. That's like worst case scenario. Like, you break your jaw in the first round, and in the fourth round, you break your leg and your ankle. Now, he did fall kind of ugly, and there was people that were saying that he might have broke his ankle and shit, but I just thought that he felt awkward. I didn't know that it necessarily equated to an injury. But shit, this motherfucker broke 3 different parts of his body in one fight. Shout out to Danny Gonzalez, bro. Let me reread that quote. He said, 4 rounds later, mouth wide open. He landed the left hook, and on the fall, I broke my ankle and leg trying to get up. From that first punch, the fight went downhill. Trainer / manager Moises Roman tells boxing that Gonzalez will undergo surgery on his ankle this coming Monday, while the jaw and leg injuries are getting better, healing by the day. Shit. He says sometimes that's how life goes. 20 years of hard work gone in a single moment. No crying, no excuses, no crying, just pain, lessons, and reality. Hate me or love me, I gave this sport everything I had, and even broken, I'm still me. Shit. God damn, boxing brutal than the motherfucker, cuz. Like, I knew that already. Sheesh. That's insane. That's another thing about boxing, too. And it's just like this in real life. Not everybody gonna make it, bro. Not everybody gonna make it. You know, there's gonna be people that crash and burn along the way. There's gonna be people that look promising, they don't add up to shit. We're gonna see people that look promising make it to the top of the boxing game. We're gonna see people retire with their faculties. We're gonna see fighters retire and go broke. Like we see it all in boxing. Boxing got a way of humbling any and everybody. And you only got a small amount of time to really do something in the sport. And when you get that opportunity, you got to be ready. If not, it's going to expose you in a negative way. So, shit, man. Prayers go out to Danny Gonzalez, man. I hope Danny paid him well because, shit, that's tough, man. Now, I wonder, since he got injured in the fight, is the commission going to be paying for his medical or what? Because that's – if he has to pay for that, that'd probably be about his whole purse right there. That's tough. That's tough, man. Shit. Winston said probably didn't even feel that leg and ankle being broke. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, when that adrenaline flowing through you, bro, there might be a million things going on, and you won't feel it in that present moment. But better believe when that shit wear off, you're going to feel all of that. That's a fact. But, man, that's tough to hear, bro. I mean, if you get knocked out, cool. But you get the first right hand that get landed on you, break your jaw. So you dealing with that. You dealing with that from the very beginning. You trying to bite down on your mouthpiece, you can't because your jaw gone. Your jaw obliterated. Then whole time Danny Garcia on you, and every time you hit you feeling it. Then he hit you with a left hook and put your lights out. And on the way down, you break your fucking leg and your ankle. Man. That's some tough shit. Man, Danny, you need to go pay for that man's surgery, bro. What's wrong with you, man? You did that to that man. You need to go take care of him. That was your retirement fight. What the hell wrong with you? But nah, shout out to Danny. What else we talking about, y'all? Let me see what's on the people mind. Oh man, I was gonna talk about this yesterday, but I didn't even go live. I'm hearing Eddie Hearn say that Errol Spence is returning. He's hearing that Errol's gonna return in January. Is that what we hearing? Let me see if I can pull that up. I seen Hassan Wells posted it on his Twitter. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Pull that up real quick. Get into the post right now. Okay, so he just posted the link. Let me see. Boxing Wiz says Turkey got a card with Benavidez and Haney in January, so that's what's up. Are you referring to the November card, brother? I don't know about a January card, but I know that they're both fighting on the same card in November. Let me know what you're talking about, Boxing Wiz. You probably dropping some knowledge I ain't even know about. Dust22 says Eddie was the first to tell us about Jake fight being in November, so I believe him. Eddie Hearn is tapped in with, the boxing world. You know what I mean? He knows, the matchmakers. He knows different people throughout the industry. So of course, he'll have some inside info. And if that's the case, Earl Spence back in January, we should be getting an announcement soon. Because think about it, y'all. October is over, basically. You know what I'm saying? What we got, let me see. Should that rent about to be due soon? Shit. It's the 26th, brother. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days left. And then we in November. So November starting, January 2 months away. We about to get into the holidays. We about to be in the motherfucking Christmas spirit soon. You feel what I'm saying? So if that's the case, Earl Spence needs to make that announcement if he's coming back in January. So we'll see. You know what I mean? I highly doubt Eddie Hearn would just push something out there if he genuinely didn't hear that through the grapevine. So we'll see. We'll see. And if Errol Spence is coming back, then who would it be against? Would it be against Charlo? He said he don't believe in tune-ups, but he might believe in tune-ups in this particular case. So we'll see. I don't really like the idea of him coming back to fight Jermell Charlo on some real shit. I don't really like the fact that him coming back at all. I don't even want Errol to, put himself back in danger with these top guys. Like Jermell Charlo been inactive, but in my opinion, that inactivity, that a little rust that could be shaken off. I think Errol Spence has some irreversible damage. I don't think he'll ever be. It's not a rust thing. I think it's a damaged fighter thing. You know what I mean? And to be real, boxing has a lot of good things going on. We got some great fighters. And Errol Spence had his time. I don't think him being gone is really making boxing fans upset or missing out on anything. There's plenty of good things that's going on at 54, heavyweight, 140. There's a lot of good things going on. We got a lot of, pound for pound level talents that, are active. Shakur Stevenson, Ben Rodriguez, Usyk still doing this thing. It's like, Errol Spence had a great moment. But I'm watching this dude, I'm watching him like work out. I'm watching him hit the pads really. And he looks like a totally different fighter. I know pad work don't really tell all the story. But like I'm watching his pad work when he was young and in his prime, with Derrick James, well balanced, feet set, throwing the punches, precise, sharp, crisp body shots, bringing the hands back, being defensively responsible. I'm watching this Errol Spence now. And like his legs aren't underneath him. He's not well balanced when he's shooting his shots. It's like he'll shoot a shot and he's just his feet aren't underneath him, and that's a red flag. That's a big sign of a fighter who's shot. You know what I'm saying? Earl Spence can come back and prove me wrong, and the layoff may benefit him, but at the same time, it's like I care about Errol Spence's health. I think he cares about his own health too. I think that's why he didn't really rush his comeback. I just don't want to see that dude take any more damage than he already took. He took a lot of damage outside of the ring, with his recreational activities, drinking, partying, getting thrown out of a Ferrari. And then, taking that punishment in that Terrence Crawford fight, that might have been the nail in the coffin in terms of what his body could tolerate from a punishment aspect. Shay says, Mazuma, off-topic question, what style do you teach or like to teach? That's a great question. I would like to look at myself as a well-rounded trainer, so I really teach it all. You feel what I mean? First of all, I pay attention to the type of qualities that you bring to the ring, first. What type of fight, what's in your DNA? What physical attributes do you bring? Are you a tall, rangy, athletic, outboxer? Are you a short, stocky, inside fighter? Are you a counter puncher? Or I take those things into consideration, you know what I mean? And that takes some time to figure out. You feel what I mean? Are you a power puncher? Are you a volume puncher? I take all of those things into consideration, and I don't really like to touch those things that you are naturally good at. If anything, I want to enhance those things, and then just add on little, add in the fundamentals, bringing your hands back, showing you a variety of ways to defend yourself. I teach foot, lateral movement. I teach the ability to catch shots, rolling underneath shots. I even teach the cross block. The importance of a jab, how to jab, the different types of jabs. How to use your defense to create offense. Counter punching, countering the combinations, varying your shots. I teach a whole lot, bro. When you really watch my fighters, they're, none of them are the same, but they all have good defense, good combinations, sharp offense, good counters, nice jabs. You feel what I'm saying? They all come in great shape. So I like to look at myself as somebody who is well-rounded. You know what I mean? Like, I don't teach all my fighters the same way because not everybody fights the same. Not everybody has the same mind frame. Not everybody has the same, nobody has the same DNA, to be real. So you have to teach every fighter accordingly. I can give you 4 fighters that I got right now, and neither one of them fight alike, but they can all fight. You know what I mean? And they win. So great question. But I like to teach a little bit of everything. And whatever, Whatever they like, they add to their toolbox. Whatever they don't like, they'll have it in the toolbox, but most likely won't use it as often. I just like to be versatile. You know what I mean? I like to give them multiple ways to approach something because, example A might not work, but B might. Example B might not work, but C might. For instance, let's say you in the ring with a fast fighter, and he's fast, so you're having trouble, catching the shots. But you might have success slipping the shots. You might have success, giving them side to side movement. That might disrupt his offense. You might have trouble slipping the right hand, but maybe you could catch it with the cross block. You know what I mean? So I teach my guys a variety of ways to deal with certain things that go on in the ring. All my guys got good jabs, so I definitely emphasize the jab. Combination punching, they're solid at as well. And great defense. Yeah, some coaches. I personally know coaches that all their fighters fight the same. They all fight the same. You feel what I mean? My fighters, they not like that. I got guys that can outbox you for however many rounds the fight's going. I got guys that dog you. I got guys that could spark you with one punch. I got guys that'll just slap you to death. Everybody's different. Everybody's different, but they all find a way to win. And that's what I take a lot of pride in. And November 21st, we're having another show at Pivot Boxing Academy. All my guys are fighting. Derek Moore, who's going to be making his pro debut in due time. He's going to be sparring Stephen Fulton to get ready for O'Shaquie Foster. I'm really excited for that. I got Joshua Ramos. He's going to be having his fifth fight. So he's midway to being an open class fighter. That's exciting. Anthony Kirkula, he actually came up short in his last fight, so he's looking to bounce back. He's already looking sharp, making the adjustments he learned from his last fight. Then we got a bunch of kids from my gym as well that my father trains. And I help them out sometimes too. But yeah, we got some good things going on. He said, great to have different tools and see what's right to use for the fighter in front of you. Facts. I mean, we don't be on that Eastside Cruise shit where we just fight one way and just pray to God it work out. Like, nah. You ain't never met a mechanic that had one tool in his toolbox and got every job done the right way. Never seen it. You pulling out a wrench ain't gonna solve every job. You know what I mean? You might need the drill for this. You might need this tool for this job. You gotta be ready for all circumstances. This current arrow is not beating Xander. I don't believe he does neither. I think Xander's style would be very dangerous for Errol Spence at this point because Xander Zayas is a volume puncher. You know what I mean? He beats dudes up off of accumulation. I don't think Errol Spence should be near anybody. He shouldn't be in boxing anymore, period. But he especially shouldn't be in there with somebody who's going to be running up them numbers on him and creating even more damage than he has. I think that'd be very, very dangerous for Errol to go up against, especially being in the later half of his career. Then on top of that, Errol Spence don't even know what weight class he want to come back to. He's saying 154 to 160. It's like, bro, pick a division. Pick a division. But Boxing International, I don't know why you think him coming back versus Xander Zayas would be ideal. I don't really understand that. Like at all. I don't understand that. Very, very excited for Derek Moore, bro. You spar like you're not even a professional yet, and you about to be sparring Stephen Fulton to get ready for a world title fight. It's humbling. It's beautiful, man. So I'm gonna make sure he's very sharp for that sparring. I'll make sure he's in phenomenal shape for that sparring. And yeah, bro, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be popping. We helped Jerron Ennis for Usyk Lima. You know that one time. We only did like 4 rounds, but you know what I mean. Nonetheless, you know we definitely contributed in a way, which was dope. And he was the only one that showed up for the Jerron Ennis sparring, by the way. Just saying. An amateur with 15 fights. Then we got, you know, Derek Moore, who has about 15 amateur fights as well. What's he like, 12-3, I believe? I don't even know. We be losing. After like double digits, you start losing track of the record. But anyways, phenomenal talent Derek is, and I can't wait to see him make his pro debut. Cannot wait. Anonymous in the building. Shout out to my boy. He said Frank Warren was talking about a possible Dubois versus Cabiel fight. Shaking my head, dude bugging in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think Cabiel is an ideal fight to come back coming off of a knockout loss. I think that that's a bit risky. I can understand like probably after Dubois racks up a couple wins, then it's like it is what it is. It'll be for a WBC interim title. Knowing Dubois, he probably would take it. You know what I mean? Because he is a risk taker. You could tell just based off of the moves that he's made in his career. But I don't know if that's ideal. I think if you have Dubois' best interest and you're at least trying to get him back in the title contention, I don't think Cabiel is an ideal fight to immediately come back to. That's not smart, in my opinion. I don't really understand that. And Cabiel is just a bad style because you got somebody in Cabiel who, you know, is a serious body puncher. Punches hard overall, but very, very dangerous dude. And he's resilient too. That's the thing about him. It's not like you could spark him and just forget about him. Like he'll touch that canvas, get up, and he's stubborn. You know what I mean? He's not going to go anywhere. And when you have the tendencies that Daniel Dubois has to quit or look for a way out, that just got bad written all over it. That doesn't look like that's gonna really go too well. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's not a ideal match. You feel what I mean? But I'm gonna open up the platform for the people to come through and express their opinions. You feel what I mean? Let me go ahead and invite guests to the stream. If anybody want to come through and talk, they talk. If anybody got any type of availability, come through. Talk to me. What's on the people's mind? I mean, how y'all felt about Fabio, Wardley, Joseph Parker? How you felt about Aspinall and Cyril Gane's situation? How you feel about the current sport of boxing, where the direction is heading? Y'all let me know. That's if y'all want to. Sometimes people don't even be hitting the link. They just want to hear me talk. It's cool. You feel what I mean? It's 12:20 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's technically a Sunday, but we're going to call it a Saturday night. Had my son feeling blessed. This motherfucker got I got him like, so my son, I got him like heavy on the like extracurricular activities. I'm trying to keep him away from the TV. So I got him like using building blocks, and my little 2-year-old man, he's counting. He's saying his ABCs, saying a lot of words. Kid's very smart, man. It's a beautiful thing to see. I ain't gonna cry on here like I did before, but it's a very beautiful thing. I remember him. I'm my son from the very beginning, man. Little small guy, very small baby, 7 pounds. Still small, to be honest. Very small, 2-year-old, but he's growing up fast. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to the real fathers out there. Nobody gonna come on. Don't nobody want to talk to Mark. All right, it's cool. It's cool. Well, shit, if ain't nobody got nothing to talk about, then, you know what I mean, we can wrap this up. Let me put my phone on the charger real quick. Ralph said, and even 160 is dangerous. I rock with Earl, but he ain't messing with John Beck or Dom messing them. Yeah, he need to stay away from John Beck too. It's just, and it sucks because, you know, I was a huge Earl Spence fan, huge. Definitely was rocking with the big fish, you feel me? But it's like, we got to be realistic at the same time. Like, bro, I was a huge fan of Deontay Wilder, Bomb Squad heavy, fucked with him. When a lot of people didn't like him, I rocked with him, you feel me? But at the same time, especially like having my experience in boxing, like seeing fighters, you know, literally fall apart. Like I know what I'm seeing. You feel what I mean? And you know that punishment that Earl Spence took inside and outside of the ring. It's only so much your body could take, can endure before it starts to, you know, fall apart. And I think Earl Spence, I think that he went too far to the deep end. You feel what I mean? In terms of like damage he's accumulated throughout his life. And it sucks, but you know, that could be a lesson to everybody. So, you know, let's not consume alcohol, let's not do irresponsible things outside of the ring. And you know, a lot of these things, you know, anything can happen. Mistakes happen, but a lot of those things can be avoided. You feel what I mean? That might have just happened with Terrence Crawford regardless. And that's just boxing, you feel me? But I think Errol Spence would have avoided a lot of trouble if he would have just stood humble, respected the game, and stood locked in. But unfortunately, he didn't. And that's not my words. Those are his. That's 22 said, I was in a ball pit with my 11th-month-old son today. Get up to leave, and all the moms was looking at me smiling. You know why? I'm gonna tell you this, and I noticed this a lot. It could be a multitude of things. Women just find responsible fathers to be attractive, especially when they mothers. You feel me? Even when they're not mothers, the fact that they see that you're willing to be an active father, masculinity, that you know, that's a big masculine trait, and feminine women are attracted to masculine qualities, right? That's one thing. Another thing, they may be lacking that active father in their child's life. So when they see that, they find that to be attractive as well. So they might have a baby dad that ain't active. That's a bum. You feel what I mean? So when they see somebody like you who's actually spending quality time with their children, and they see that and they like, damn, like, that's dope to see. I wish my baby dad was active like that in my child's life. So they might be attracted to you from that instance as well. You know, they like that type of shit. You feel me? Like, I've had women that, you know, nothing like no type of flirting or nothing like that. But I've had women like at the gym. 'Cause I always had my son at the gym with me. Anybody that ever be in the gym with me, they know that my son gonna be there. You feel what I mean? That's just like sometimes I let my mom watch him, you feel what I mean, if she want to spend time with him and stuff like that. But for the most part, he be in the gym with me. He be in the ring with me. He be chilling, eating his cookies, watching his TV at the gym. He be drinking his juice, all that. My son got his own little pantry at the gym, you feel me? And the parents come up to me like, you're such a great dad. you're always with your son, you know. And then they start telling me about their situation. And I'm like, damn. Like I had women tell me, I wish my son had a father like you, and it'd be sad, bro. A lot of these niggas is deadbeats out here. You feel me? That's so keep being the great father that you are. You know what I mean? You making a significant you really you're doing a lot of good, man. So stay alive as long as you can, brother. Stay healthy for as long as you can. And keep doing what you got to do for your kids, bro. And don't do anything impulsive that could take you away from your kids. You know, I had a situation at my workplace where I was helping this customer out, and they happened to be with their child, and my phone screen lit up. Now, when my phone screen light up, you see me and my son, right? So the kid had saw that, and he was like, mind you, he had to be like every bit of like between ages 8 to 10. I'm not sure exactly how old he was, but he was old enough to get an understanding of the world. And he was like, "Is that your son? Are you a dad?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, that's my son." He was like, "I wish my dad was here. I miss my dad." And the way the mom responded, she had like, you could feel like her energy changed, like something was upsetting to her. So I don't know if the father passed away. I don't know if he, you know, or is just away, like on jail. I don't know. But that kid's energy really killed me. You know what I'm saying? Like that I had to get in the motherfucking who's this? Let me see who this is. Son Ronaldo. What's going on, man?
Yo,
How we feeling? What's your name?
this is Shay, man.
Shay?
Yeah,
Yeah, you be in the comments. What's going on, brother?
but I just got a couple questions for you if you can answer them for me.
Of
I'll just
course. Of
um,
course.
so you know, I don't know if you know, but you know, when like in boxing, there's like
Where you from?
Australia.
Oh shit, you in Australia right now?
Yeah, 5 days.
Fire. Shout out to my Australians out there, man. What's
Yeah,
going on?
man.
Go ahead. My fault. I just heard the
Yeah.
X. I needed the X.
So you know how there's like trunk movement in boxing, where you just like move your trunk.
You talking about your upper body movement?
Yeah, your body movement.
Yeah.
Where I train now, they always say like, you know how sometimes you throw 1, 2, and then you slippy, and then come back with the 2, right?
Correct.
You personally, do you prefer like to use your feet, 1, 2, like use your feet here to get off the center line, or do you prefer just to like slip here and then come back?
I would say I'm more of an advocate for using your feet to get off the line, because one thing about head movement is you could time it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So let's say, for instance, you have a tendency of doing that. Let's say you showed that multiple times in the ring with your opponent. If they experienced enough. If I see, I don't know if you were staying in southpaw or orthodox. Which southpaw, right? So if you're going 1, 2 and you dropping off to that left, if you dropping off to that left side to drop the right to drop the left hand, then I'm gonna make sure when you drop off to that side, then I'm gonna bring either that jab or that right hand over to that side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I saw Derek James have an interesting conversation about he had an interesting conversation about that, because he was saying that a lot of his fighters don't have head movement. You see what I'm saying? It was like, oh, Spence, he ain't got no head movement, blah, blah. And he was like, listen, like, I don't really, that's not something that I really teach. What I really teach is, taking yourself off the line with your feet, just like how you were just saying. He said, because head movement can be timed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you move your head this way, I can jab this way. If you move this way, I can drop the right hand or the jab this way. So using your feet to take yourself off the line is what I'm a strong proponent of, because when you're using your feet to take yourself off the line, now your opponent has to pick up his feet and adjust his feet in order to get you back within their line of fire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're just moving your head, all you gotta do is bring your head back to the center line,
and then you get hit
and I'm there to get you. Or I could just throw the punch wherever your head is going. I could time wherever your head movement is going and punch in that direction. So I actually like the idea of using your feet to get off the line in comparison to just planting your feet and moving your head. It all depends on the opponent, though. You feel what I mean?
Cause even like my coach, he was saying like you might like say like you're staying here and you slip. You might slip 2 shots, but then the third shot might catch you because you're still here. But if you move your feet, you're at the line, so he has to come back to you. You know what I mean?
That's correct. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Yo, that's about it, man. I just wanted to get your opinion because I've been listening to you, and I know like you're like a knowledgeable person about boxing. You know, a lot of these guys on YouTube, to be honest, they don't box, they don't know what they're talking about. But you, I can tell that you know what you're talking about. So I just wanted to get your opinion.
Right, but what I'm gonna say is, always listen to your coach. Always listen to your coach. I mean, why would you have them if you didn't believe in them, right? But what 100%. I'm gonna say is, bro, learn all of it. Learn all of it. Learn how to be able to plant your feet and move your head. You know what I mean? Step off the line as well. You want to be well-rounded in every, situation. Because what if you're a bit fatigued and you can't really pick up your feet like you did in the early rounds? You might have to rely on your upper body movement to get the job done. There's a few things. You know what I'm saying? So what I say is try to master it all, bro. You never really figure out boxing in its entirety because it is that difficult. But you want to be well-rounded. You want to be able to do a little bit of everything. So, do you got fights? Are you competing?
Yeah, I got fights. I got like 7.
7? That's good. I don't know exactly how the amateur system is over there in Australia, but in USA boxing over here, I'm from Philadelphia, but 7 fights, you will be close to being an open class fighter.
Yeah, yes.
In the amateurs over here, once you have 10 fights, you consider open class. When you have 7 fights, you consider it novice. So,
same as us around here. But over here, they don't fight as often as you guys. You guys fight like every second week or something.
I mean, for the summer alone, we fought the entire summer from June to September. We went to like 12 different events. I just checked my coaching book the other day. And so it's times where I decide to like rest my fighters because I don't want to burn them out. You feel what I'm saying? So I have them rest a little bit, and I'll be like, all right, we're just gonna do the shows, and then we also have shows at my gym. You feel what I'm saying? So I'll be like, all right, we're gonna do a couple of our shows in these upcoming months, and then we're gonna rest, and then we're gonna go back on the road. So I mean, Jersey they have fights, Delaware they have fights, Philly they have fights. So we just go. Sometimes we go to Maryland too, and we've been looking at. Yeah, and then they have a lot of events in New York too. But like, I don't know, New York guys don't really like us, so we don't really go over there at all.
They be ducking smoke?
Say that again?
They be ducking smoke in New York?
I'm not gonna say they be ducking smoke. I just think that they don't really like to network with us. I guess it's because of our rivalry, I guess you would say.
I'm not gonna lie. Philly fellas, they sound crazy over there. Oh, that's the same. Yeah.
Nah, they we always face them in like local tournaments and stuff like that. So we be facing New York, but they like to stay between each other. Like I've reached out to New York amateur matchmakers and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, can I get some fighters on the card? And I think they more about ticket sales. And they know like if you're traveling, you're not probably gonna bring that many people with you.
Right.
Probably like, nah, we're not gonna bring them on because they ain't gonna sell no tickets. So it's like,
damn.
Yeah, it's like it's a business in the amateurs too.
Even the amateurs, like I know in the pros, but even in the amateurs,
hosting the event, because that's the thing. And we just did a fight October. When was that? I forgot. October 10th, I believe. And you got to pay for the sanctioners. You got to pay the judges. You got to pay for the doctor. You got to pay for belts, trophies. So you putting all this money out. You got to make the money back. If you want to do a show.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to put people on the card that's mostly local because that's what's going to guarantee ticket sales. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, like the amateurs don't get paid, but the people that put on the show, they looking to make a return on their investment.
Right.
Oh shit! What's going on, Clay?
Yo!
Oh shit! That microphone working. You loud than a motherfucker.
Oh my bad. Yo!
What's up, bro?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm chilling, family. I'm chilling, family. I was up and I was like, oh damn, Mazuma up. It's late. I mean, it's Mazuma.
Bro, I came on late. My son. I fell asleep with my son. I woke up. It was like 10:40. I was like, fuck. I almost missed my live, but I'm here.
No doubt. You saw the fight?
Which one?
I mean the heavyweight fight tonight. Fabio.
Yeah, I did. But Shay, you got any last questions, brother? I don't want to hold you up.
No, that's it, man. Thank you so much.
How you doing, Shay? Salute to you, family.
Hey, love from Australia, man. Shout out to the boy Shay.
All right. Oh man, salute, man. You guys will get it right. You guys got it, man. Joe be back, man.
See you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. We getting love from Japan, Australia, Spain.
It's international, man.
This is a beautiful thing. How you doing though, Clay? Before we get into the talk.
I'm doing good, man. No complaints, man. I'm doing good, man. I had to dump StreamYard, bro. I'm done with StreamYard, bro.
What happened?
I'm going to restream, bro. Nah, I've been having issues with them for like the past month. Not like with them, like they have no problem taking my money, you know what I'm saying? But the system just been having issues with I don't know if it's because it's a high definition thing, but it's been freezing. I'll be freezing all the time. And then lately, I try to post up schedule a live for today because I wanted to cover the fights. And they were like, error, try again later. It did that from last night all the way till today, bro. And I ultimately I didn't get to go up live. I went and opened up a Restream account, and I'm like, that's it, bro, because it was already messing up. It was already just having issues, like, you know what I'm saying, just periodically. So I'm like, yo, I'm done with you guys.
Shit. I mean, yeah, I had my trouble with StreamYard too, but I think since I changed my Wi-Fi, I haven't really been having as many issues. Yeah. I think it was really just the trash ass Wi-Fi I had, but StreamYard gave me my issues. I feel what you're saying, but let me know how Restream is, because
so far so good. I did a live today on Restream. I did one. It was good. It was decent. I got to learn it. You know what I'm saying? So it's another learning curve. Got to figure out how they do what they do, but so far so good. I'll let you know for sure though.
Yeah. So I mean, we could definitely talk about this fight. We spoke about it already, but what was your perspective?
Man, the fight. There was intangibles going into this fight. See. Man, I'm gonna shout out Showbiz again, right? Real quick. I always shout him out whenever I say this thing here. He said, in boxing, there's no excuses, but we got to acknowledge the reasons, right? So there's no excuses in boxing. Deontay Wilder being on mushrooms and losing his hunger and his killer instinct is not an excuse. Joseph Parker beat Deontay Wilder. We cannot take that victory away from Joseph Parker, right? No excuses, but there was a reason. We saw what we saw. We know when we watched that fight, we was like this. Man, D, what you doing, bro? What's going on right now, right? We was like, hey, D, stop playing with me, bro. That's not Deontay Wilder. But he beat him, fine. He went and beat up Zhale Zhang. Well, he didn't beat up Zhale Zhang. Zhale Zhang put him on his pockets, but he outclassed Zhale Zhang, who was 40-plus years old, fat as hell in that fight. No excuses. No excuses. I'm going to give Joseph Parker his props. The reason. I'm going to acknowledge the reason for why it looked like that. He got put down twice in that fight. And then he knocked out Martin Bacoli. No excuses. Mark, no excuses. We don't do that in boxing. 24 hours notice, over 300 pounds. There's some reasons. I never got that confirmation fight from Joseph Parker that confirmed that this dude was the megalodon they were describing him to be. I can acknowledge the improvements he made ever since he added Andy Lee to his team. I can acknowledge that and see him being a better fighter than the fighter who fought Anthony Joshua back in the day, than the fighter who fought Dillian White back in the day. I can acknowledge these improvements. But was I ready and was I completely sold on this Joseph Parker being this guy? No, I really wasn't. And I wasn't hating on him. I'm just letting you know I didn't see the fight yet that showed me what everybody else saw. And I knew going into this fight, it was going to have to be the right fight for Joseph Parker to win this fight. He had to fight the right way. He had to cut the weight. He had to be athletic. He had to box. He had to stick to his strengths. He couldn't get too much out of that comfort zone, or he might get exposed by a young, hungry, punching Fabio Wardley, who, yes, doesn't have the pedigree of Joseph Parker, doesn't have the skill set of Joseph Parker, and definitely does not have the experience of Joseph Parker, but is hungry enough and is punching crazy enough especially after you just seen what he did with Justice Uni, or whatever his name is. I knew that Fabio Wardley, if Joseph Parker decided to fight Fabio Wardley, that Fabio Wardley had a great opportunity to win this fight. And what did that man do? First thing he did that let me know there was an issue was that man jumped up on the scale, Mark, at 262 pounds. I said, this nigga think he big, he hard. He about to be punching with this dude. I know what he about to do. I already know what he about to do. He about to be punching with this guy. Okay, fine. 262 pounds. Then I hear Andy Lee talking about we're going to get him out of there in less than 6 rounds. I said 262 pounds. They're going to get him out of there in less 6 rounds. If this dude doesn't get Fabio Wardley out of this fight inside of 6 or 7 rounds, he's going to blow his load. I knew it. The conditioning is going to be shot. He's not going to be able to maintain the type of energy he has to knock out Fabio Wardley. And here's another thing. I know you're not knocking out Fabio Wardley because he's a damn rugby player. Them rugby players ain't nothing to play with, Mark. Them rugby players ain't going nowhere, bro. Are you crazy? Them dudes is playing football with no gear on, bro. With no gear on. Those are some of the toughest Samoan, whatever the hell they are, people on the planet, in my opinion. So, yeah, going into this fight, I had a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, man. And there was a point in the fight where I'm like, damn, Parker might get him out of here, bro. He's like, I'm like, Parker really getting with him. Parker was giving it up. But once it got into like that, past the 7th round, I knew he was in a dangerous space. I knew. I could tell by the way he was carrying. So I'm like, he's in a dangerous place. He needs to do something quick. And then he tried to box, and he just didn't have the conditioning to move around and box the way he wanted to. And Fabio was able to. And then Fabio started stabbing that body. And that's another thing that Fabio Wardley showed too. Because I don't want to make this look like Joseph Parker just dropped the ball. Fabio Wardley also improved tremendously in this fight. That fight he had with Justice Uni improved him, leveled him up, showed him his real vulnerability and what he's weak at. And he became way more patient in this fight, way more poised. He was stabbing the body early. He invested really early because I think he was expecting for an athletic moving around all the place Joseph Parker. I think he was a little caught off guard in those first couple rounds. Like, damn, this dude's really punching on me and standing up in here with me. But once he got a hold of it, Joseph Parker faded to black, man. It's bittersweet, Mark. It's bittersweet because Joseph Parker deserved that fight with Usyk. He worked hard. He deserved that damn fight, bro. He did the work to get that fight, and he took a chance. He bet on himself. He just bet he made the wrong bet, man. Came in there way too big, bro. Way too big, and that game plan he had was only a good game plan for inside of 5 to 7 rounds. That's all I saw.
Yeah, I understand that perspective. What I'm gonna say is, and I'm gonna say this before I go into my spiel or whatever. He actually came in that heavy in the Martin Bacoli fight, aka the Daniel Dubois fight. So I think he put on that additional weight because he understood that going into that Daniel Dubois fight, he probably was gonna have to walk through some things. So he probably thought taking a page out of Tyson Fury's book when he faced Deontay Wilder, I'm gonna put on this additional weight so I could be ready for those bigger shots. You know what I mean? Be able to absorb those bigger shots. And, I guess he saw, how the way the Martin Bacoli fight went because he even got hurt in that fight with Bacoli, but then he was able to catch him in between shots. He was able to get the stoppage or whatever the case is. So
went to his head.
He saw that. I guess he felt like it worked. And going in there with Fabio Wardley, who's known for being a big puncher himself. Like we seen that Frazier-Clark fight and all that good stuff. That boy could seriously do some damage with when he puts those punches together. So I guess he felt like that additional weight will help him. Now, looking at the fight, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna shout out Showbiz, but I'm gonna just respond to.
I'm just giving him his props because that's where I got the line from. I'm not shouting out.
No.
I'm just giving him respect for his shit that I'm using. I'm using his shit.
I'm just talking shit. But yeah, there's definitely some reasons. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give Joseph Parker, props for the 180 that he had made in his career because prior to him beating Deontay Wilder, prior to him beating Julie Zhang, he came off of some unfortunate events throughout his career, whether he was knocked out by Joe Joyce, you know what I mean? Him losing to Dillian White, him losing to Anthony Joshua and Dillian White back to back. He was able to make something of himself and come back into, the top of the division. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he fought Martin Bacoli off of a 24 hours notice, but we all know who the initial guy was. He didn't show up due to whatever reason that was. And that's why, I didn't really bash Shakur Stevenson for fighting Josh Padley, because it's like, what the hell was he supposed to do? He was supposed to fight Floyd Schofield. That was a fight people was calling for, especially, Auntie Sco. But, it didn't happen. So I can't, and, they still got to feed their families at the end of the day. You feel me? Julie Zhang, yeah, he was a 40-year-old, but at the same time, he was on a tear. Fucking basically destroyed Joe Joyce's career. And going into the Joseph Parker fight, he only had one loss, and it was the Philip Herkovich. And there's people that felt like, that fight with Philip Herkovich was a bit shaky. So I give him a lot of credit for the Julie Zhang fight. And the fact that he got put on his pockets twice and was still able to weather the storm to get the victory against Julie Zhang, not only did it provide a blueprint on how to defeat Julie Zhang, but it was just impressive overall, because we see people hit the canvas and completely lose sight of their game plan. He still focused and was able to get the job done as a result of that. So I give him a lot of credit for that. You see what I mean? Because like I said, I seen people hit the canvas and lose control of their mind, they panic. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't see him fumble. So Joseph Parker had his lows, he had his highs in his career, and based off of the 180 that he's made with victories over Bacoli, Deontay Wilder, Julie Zhang, I called him, outside of the undisputed champion Alexander Usyk, the top contender of the heavyweight division. You see what I'm saying? Especially since, Daniel Dubois lost to Alexander Usyk and stuff like that. I genuinely felt like it was Usyk. And then, Joseph Parker was the next credible opponent. Yep. You know what I mean? He was the most credible opponent for Alexander Usyk's titles. But I did say in the lead up to the Fabio Wardley fight, that was a very, very risky fight. You know what I mean? I never looked at Fabio Wardley as somebody who was as skilled as Joseph Parker. I didn't see him as somebody being as experienced as Joseph Parker, because in reality, their resumes, to this point were night and day. They were totally different. But I recognized the abilities that Fabio Wardley had, and I knew that if Joseph Parker didn't play his cards right, that it could be a long night for him. And yeah, man, it was a great fight. First of all, it was a great fight.
Great fight.
One of the contenders for fight of the year, to be honest with you.
Big facts.
A lot of back and forth. I seen Joseph Parker. What was it? I think Joseph Parker hurt him in the first round.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And then Fabio Wardley came in the second round. I think he hurt Joseph Parker. And then it was just a back and forth from then on. And I see Fabio Wardley.
Wasn't there a point you think that Joseph Parker was actually starting to, like, dare I say, dominate?
He was, but that's what made it such an exciting fight. You would think Joseph Parker have it in the bag, then Fabio Wardley come out with something to throw off Joseph Parker, and even hurt Joseph Parker, like ring his bell in a sense. You see what I'm saying? So I seen Joseph Parker having some success countering. You know what I mean? He landed some good right hands. He landed such a flush slip. He slipped Fabio Wardley's lazy jab, came over with the right hand. He got full force on that punch, and Fabio didn't go anywhere. Fabio following up with shots. And the thing was, even when Fabio Wardley was fatigued throughout the fight, he still maintained his speed and his power throughout the course of the fight. So that let me know that he may have been fatigued, but he came in pretty good shape, because there's people that when they get fatigued, they lose their punches become slower, they more sluggish. Fabio was game throughout the entire course, and he will be fatigued.
That rugby shit.
That what?
That rugby shit. I'm telling you, bro. Yo, them rugby dudes is tough, bro. I'm telling you. Don't get no bar fight with no rugby players, bro. I'm telling you. I
don't plan on doing that. That's probably that's one of the reasons why I don't go to bars. Period. I don't drink, so you ain't gonna catch me there anyway. But like you'll see Fabio look like he's starting to fall apart, then he'll pick it up, then he'll have like a spurt, and then he'll have an effect on Joseph Parker now.
Mm-hmm.
Love the fight. Great fight. Was it the best stoppage in the world? Not necessarily, but at the same time, that's not gonna warrant me, nor should it warrant anybody else to discredit Fabio for his victory. Because at the end of the day, and I say this to my fighters all the time as a boxing coach, don't sit on the ropes. Don't. That's number one. Number two, you want to let the referee, you got to give referee reassurance. You don't only have to give your corner reassurance, but you have to give the referees reassurance at the end of the day that you're okay and that you are capable of defending yourself. Cool. So there was, was Fabio landing the biggest shots while Joseph Parker was on the ropes? Not really. In reality, a lot of them shots weren't even landing flush. But the fact that Fabio was letting his hands go while Joseph Parker refused to throw a punch, clinch, use his feet to get out of the way, you put in a referee in a tough spot where he may have to call something in order to save you from taking additional damage. When you are getting shots ran up on you and you're not throwing punches in between, it's looking like you are defenseless. Like right. you leaving it, you pretty much leaving it in the ref's hands to really make a call that could change the entire course of the fight. Joseph Parker was definitely hurt. You know what I'm saying? Fabio's punches was definitely taking a toll on him. Fabio was also landing some nasty body shots throughout the course of the fight. I think they started to add up. And, you know, like I said, Fabio he got some decent hand speed. So when you got decent hand speed in the heavyweight division and you got some pop as well, and you got the type of conditioning that Fabio Wardley showed tonight, you always going to be game unless you get sparked or whatever the case is. But he put the referee in a situation where he had no choice but to make a call. And I feel like if Joseph Parker would have went about things, you know, in a different way, he probably would have made it to the 12th round and probably won on the scorecards. You see what I'm saying? So, but like I said, I'm not going to discredit Fabio for that, man. He walked through fire to get that victory. He got hurt several. He said he did get hurt, but I just think that's a fighter just trying to make it seem like, you know,
we saw the fight.
I'm not trying to expose any weaknesses, but at the end of the day, like Emmanuel Stewart says, the legs don't lie, your body don't lie when you react to certain punches. He got hurt he got buzzed several times throughout the fight. Was getting outclassed throughout several moments of the fight, but he did not take no for an answer. He showed resiliency. He showed a great chin. Showcased superb conditioning, because the bounce back from being hurt several times throughout the fight, that speaks to your mental fortitude, but also your conditioning as well. And he deserves whatever blessing comes after this, because you beat the guy that was, you know, almost unanimously said to be like the next up to face Usyk for undisputed. So because you beat that guy, you have now taken his place. And I thought Fabio was completely justified in calling out Usyk after that, because you beat the guy that was next in line. So that should make you the next guy in line. So Fabio's stock just shot through the roof, man. He's still undefeated, very dangerous. I don't know exactly how he fares with Alexander Usyk. I would like to think that Usyk's a totally different type of fighter in comparison to Joseph Parker, but nonetheless, he's very deserving of the opportunity. And I don't really see anybody else in the heavyweight division that deserves it more than Fabio Wardley right now.
No, I agree with you. He paid the cost to be the boss, man. And yeah, I think what Usyk's going to do to him is what Joseph Parker should have done to him. Usyk's going to take that dude into deep waters, bro. He's going to outbox him, and if he gets a stoppage on his way there, it'll happen. But if it doesn't, he's going to Fabio Wardley. No matter what, he started boxing late, and he's just not there fundamentally, like even Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker fought the wrong fight. I truly believe that him and Andy Lee will look back at this fight and they're going to see they left food on the table. That was a winnable fight for those guys. And they made some bad decisions. You know what I mean? They made some in the strategy, but shout out, like you said, because I don't ever want it to go understated. Joseph Parker put on a great performance. He was a great dancing partner. He was winning the fight, in my opinion, until that moment. But you gave Fabio Wardley an opportunity, and like a hungry fighter, he took it. You decided to fight him, and he was like, "That's what's up. I'm good with that." I was scared you was gonna be moving around this bitch and boxing me and making my life a living hell. You gonna see him fight me? I can only honor that, and maybe you'll win, but now I know I can win too. And I think that gave Wardley some confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can win this fight because this guy's not running away from me. He's not moving away from me. I don't have to find him. He's right there, bro. I just need to go ahead and set my punches up the right way. And if I can catch him with one of these right hands or this uppercut, or if I can catch him with a left hook, I know I can wobble him. I can wobble anybody in the heavyweight division if they give me a chance to. And I think moving forward, the heavyweights in the division, have a lot more respect for Fabio right now, right? They look at him like, damn, bro, you can't play with him, bro. You can't play with him, man. He will take it from you, bro. He will take it from you late. Yeah. You know what I mean? He'll get it from you. You'll be winning. You'll be doing your thing. You'll be shining. And he will take it from you late.
Yeah, and you know, just to make this clear, from what I see, he was losing to Hooney.
Yes. He lost that fight. I had a friend of mine who bet money who's upset, like, damn, bro, I thought this dude was gonna win. The fight wasn't overweight. I thought it was done. And all of a sudden, dude was laying on his back. I'm like, oh, yo, hey. And nah, he just knocked him out.
that was in the 10th round. So that what makes Fabio dangerous is that he got the power. If he need to bring it for all 12, he gonna have it there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Work him. You got to work him. You got to domesticate him. You got to break him, take his will. And I think Usyk is a kind of fighter that's going to do that. Obviously, I think if Joseph Parker fights him again, he does it.
I don't think it's worth trying to even break his will. I think you got to just neutralize him for what he's like. Because
you got to break his will up here, not physically here. You got to frustrate him and make him.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? When I think of breaking somebody's will, I'm thinking of like just beating them until they fall to submission. I don't even think you should even take that approach with somebody like Fabio, because that gives him an opportunity to do his job. He needs to be neutralized.
Yes.
Of what he does well. You see what I'm saying? Don't give him any type of opportunities. And I think that's where Alexander Usyk is going to be different. Alexander Usyk IQ has clearly shown to be levels above his peers, you know, in the division. I love, Usyk's, his movement. He's definitely going to be utilizing that throughout the fight with Fabio if they are to fight. He has superb timing as well, to the point where Fabio could be in the middle of throwing that lazy jab, because that's something that I'm noticing. He does not bring that lead hand back to save his life. And that'll be something very dangerous to do against a southpaw, bro. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. That left hand, and sometimes Usyk likes to loop that shot. And you'll see, you won't really necessarily see that shot. And even though, Fabio may have he may have a solid chin, it's those shots that you don't see that hit your temple. You know what I mean? That hit you right on the chin that could really put your lights out. So Usyk doesn't really have to be the biggest puncher. He hasn't been the biggest puncher, but he's been getting stoppages in the heavyweight division. You feel what I'm saying? So Fabio, if he does fight Usyk, that's a tall task, man. It's a tall one. And he's going to have to go back in the lab and really fix some things from a fundamental aspect if he wants to put himself in the best possible position to win. One of them is going to be bringing that lead hand back, because you don't want to be caught lacking.
Yeah, he thinks he's Roy Jones, right?
You don't. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where – and we seen it in Usyk's last fight with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois kept overcommitting, and Usyk adjusts like this. Like he's not one of them dudes who, you know what I mean? He'll watch you for 2 rounds and then he's like, all right, I see what you're doing now. I'm gonna come get you. No, like he sees it while he's in the ring, and if you do that more than once, he's gonna make you pay for that. You see what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily the punching power that Usyk has, but how sharp his punches are, how accurate his punches are, and how you don't really see the shot coming. That's what makes him devastating as a finisher in the heavyweight division. And Fabio, he's going to need more than will. He's going to need more than determination. He's going to need more than a steel chin to, get off on Usyk, bro. I'm going to just say that.
I agree with you 100%. But here's where I'm like, listen, you got to know your strengths and you got to know your weaknesses, right? We watched Deontay Wilder try to adjust. Sometimes you are who you are, man. He doesn't have those skills. He came into the game late. So Fabio Wardley is going to have to pressure Usyk. He's going to have to attack that body. He's going to, I believe, he's going to be comfortable with looking like he's not winning, because he's going to believe he can win as long as he's in the fight.
Right.
You apply that pressure. You press Usyk, physically clinch him if you got to, dirty box him, get him to the body. You know what I'm saying?
Like Derek Chisora was doing.
Yeah, exactly. You throw big bombs whenever you think you can. You know what I'm saying? You attack that body and you smother all of that pretty shit that Usyk thinks he's going to do. You make it ugly and you bet on yourself that in between round 9 and 12, you can close it up. And if you lose fighting that way, you have your head up high when you go home because you know you did your thing and it wasn't enough. You don't want to go home becoming a brand new fighter, trying a bunch of stuff, get your ass whooped, and go home feeling like, damn, bro, I should have just did me. You know what I'm saying? I should have just did me, bro, if I was going to lose. He's going to have to bet on himself again, Mark. He's going to have to bet on himself. And the reality is, we know you're probably going to lose, bro, doing you. But at least I think you give yourself your best chance being yourself and being what got you to the big show, right? Interesting fight regardless. Great dance partner. I think it's going to be a great fight just because of the way Fabio Wardley thinks and how he approaches the fight. Usyk's going to have to humble that dude, bro. He's going to have to be the dog whisperer. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to humble that dude, bro. He's going to go through it. And I think at the end of that fight, Usyk's going to be like, yeah, I believe Usyk retires after that fight. At the end of that fight, Usyk goes, you know what? I'm straight. Great victory. I'm retiring. I'm good. I'm not doing this with nobody else.
Yeah. I mean, he said he got 2 years left, but you never really know. You know what I mean? I think Usyk the type dude that he may say that, but he may wake up one day, feel different, and just walk away. But just like similar to like Vasyl Lomachenko, once he was done, he was done. But yeah, I think you raised a good point, man. You know, it might be a situation where, you know, because he started boxing so late, he is who he is, and there's not really much that could be changed at one training camp to prepare for somebody like Alexander Usyk, who's been boxing for X amount of years. You feel what I'm saying? So I think like you almost got to be okay with what, you know, taking some bruises, taking some bumps in this fight, man. I think Fabio Wardley is confident. I think he really believes in his ability to, you know, I believe he believes in his durability for one. And I think that he feels like, you know, he could get stoppages early, he could get stoppages late. And I think that's what gives him confidence. I think in the lead up to this Usyk fight, I think he needs to throw away the whole idea of trying to go like skill for skill with him. I feel like that's a mentality that really ruins fighters' chances of actually putting off fights against these higher level guys. It's almost like, whenever guys fight elite level guys like Canelo or face elite level guys like Floyd Mayweather, where they clearly don't have the abilities skill wise to beat these guys, but for some reason they just feel the need to play chess with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't really feel like Fabio has the tools necessary to even attempt to do that, because if that's the case, then that'll be easy pickings for Usyk. I think he needs to understand that he is limited in some areas, but he's great in others. And I think he has to utilize those areas that he's good at to the best of his ability in order to have the best chance possible to get the victory. So I feel like Fabio, he's going to have to get in his Orlando Salido bag. That's what I like to call it. You know what I'm saying? How when he faced Vasyl Lomachenko, he did face an inexperienced Vasyl Lomachenko in the professional ranks. But I think Orlando Salido didn't go into the fight thinking he was a superior skilled fighter. I don't feel like Orlando Salido felt like he had to prove to the world that he was more skilled than Vasyl Lomachenko. I think he knew in his mind, this motherfucker could box. We ain't even about to be acting like I'm on his level from a boxing setting. But guess what? I'm a dog. I let my hands go, and we're going to make this ugly to get the result that I'm looking for. And he fought a dirty-ass fight, low blows and, everything you could think of.
Yeah, he said, let the ref do his job. I'm going to do mine.
Exactly. They're there for a reason. You about to work for your money today. Some referees don't have to work for their bread, but you're going to have a tall task. You're going to have to keep this shit in order because I'm coming to fight. And this ain't going to be a traditional boxing match where this ain't going to be they call it a gentleman's sport, but it ain't about to be in this situation. So he had to do what he had to do, and that's one of the biggest victories on Salido's resume. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And Salido, I was just about look, Lorenzo beat me to the punch. He said Salido missed weight in that fight by like 10 pounds. Yeah, he went against the grain because he understood that was his best chance. And guess what? They tried to run that rematch back. He was like, nope,
I'm good.
So he did what he had to do. So I think Fabio needs to tap into that mind frame. You know what I mean? Especially considering that, you know, Usyk and Vasil Lomachenko, they stablemates. He could learn something from Orlando Salido because, Lomachenko and Usyk don't fight exactly alike, but they definitely had some similarities.
Oh yeah, they definitely have an Eastern European style about them.
Highly skilled individuals that seem to have trouble with guys who don't fight them conventionally. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So I think Fabio need to look back at that. I think he need to get his Orlando Salido bag. He need to get in his. He can learn a little something from that Derek Chisora fight as well. Like that's what he's gonna have to do. If he doesn't, if it's anything less than that, then it's a Usyk victory, and that's just gonna add on to his legacy.
And an embarrassing one too for him. I think Usyk can embarrass him if he doesn't carry himself accordingly. I agree with you, man. Make it dirty. And look, at the end of the day, if Usyk has any weaknesses that people talk about, his body, right? Which I think Fabio did a good job of attacking the body of Joseph Parker. I mean, that's about it, right? That's about it, right? But look, man, the pressure, Derek. I love that you brought up Derek Chisora, man. That was a great. I mean, that's it right there. You build off of that. You build off of what Derek did, man. You build off of that, and you add your own flavor to it, and you add that pressure, and you might be the one. Let me tell you, man, it be the unorthodox style, right? That comes in and takes somebody off their heel. You know what I mean? Maybe Tyson Fury was a little too fundamentally sound. Maybe he was just too predictable. Maybe, you know what I mean? The way he fought was too predictable. Maybe Anthony Joshua was too structured. He was just too easy to beat. Daniel Dubois was just too structured. Maybe the whole entire wrench that needs to be thrown into the system to fight Alexander Usyk is a little bit of chaos. Not to interrupt, but Anthony Joshua, that's where he messed up at with the Usyk fight, because remember when he had that little episode after the fight, he was really working on his skills, but that was the first mistake right there, because Anthony Joshua is somebody who started boxing late as well. Mm-hmm. So you're not within the same stratosphere as Usyk from an experience standpoint, from the amateurs. You know, all the years he done put into the game, it's like that's where you messed up. You trying to feel like you could, compete skill for skill with Usyk. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, go ahead. No. You hitting it on the nail, man. You talking, you know what I mean? And we talking about and building right now, and honestly opening up some different doors, like Teddy Atlas said, opening up the different doors in the house and going into those rooms, because the other rooms, we already know what's in there, right? And I would think that you got Ben Davidson over there. I saw working with Fabio Wardley tonight. You got somebody who's going to watch video, who's going to work out a strategy. Ben Davidson. No, he wasn't with Anthony Joshua for any of the Usyk fights. But yeah, he came on later. But still, you know what I'm saying? Listen, man, I think Fabio Wardley is a live dog, bro. He's a live dog, and that means anything can happen, bro. Be on your P's and your Q's, cross your T's, dot your I's, because if you let him and you give him an opportunity, he is prepped and ready to jump all over it and walk up out of there an undisputed champion on that ass. Pause. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to do that. He's ready to walk. He's ready to grab that mic and be like, yeah, I won that. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I just let my hand go right there. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Shot one to the body, came over the top, it caught him. That's it. I'm champion of the world. A-side. You know what I'm saying? Holla at me. You know what I mean? Hey, man, that just that was an upset. That was definitely an upset. It was a fight that a lot of people thought Joseph Parker had in the bag, but hey, man, things happen. This boxing. Fabio showed. He's one of them, man. He's one of them. He showed. I'm one of them. And I was saying earlier, bro, boxing is like one of very few sports where you could know a whole lot and still not know a motherfucking thing. So I always got a way of just proving you wrong somehow. So no doubt. Did you watch the whole card or just that fight? Nah, I wasn't able to watch the whole card. I was ripping and running.
I was actually at Target watching the Joseph Parker and Fabio fight. So
okay.
yeah, I was getting some things done, buying some.
Ezra Taylor, he had a good fight. I'm actually excited to see what he's gonna do in the light heavyweight division. You know what I mean? I want to see him in some fights. I think him and Najee Lopez would be a crazy fight.
Light heavyweight is getting very interesting, man, with these new kids that's coming up. Najee Lopez, he impressed the hell out of me in that Calvin Henderson fight.
Yes, he did.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he got. Then, of course, you got, the other guys that this guy just signed with Eddie Hearn. What's his name again?
What?
The kid.
Ben Whitaker.
Ben Whitaker, you know what I mean? There's a lot of talk behind him, especially since signing with Matchroom. Then you got some guys that, you got Khalil Cole as well. That's with Matchroom. Maybe they're looking to be building something within the next few years.
Right.
Khalil Cole, he was supposed to fight Jesse Hart on Jaron Ennis's undercard, but he had to pull out with an injury, unfortunately. If he would have beat Jesse Hart, that would have been a huge victory. That would have really set him apart from his peers, like the young guys that's coming up. Then you got the guys who, haven't been promoted as much, but are still very dangerous. We still got Atifo Burlton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, man, there's a lot of talent that's coming up at 175 right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing who rises to the top amongst all those guys. But Najee Lopez, very, very impressed. The way that he took Calvin Henderson apart. I know Calvin Henderson personally. We fought, one of our guys fought him early on in his pro career, Brandon Robinson. And it was a very close fight until they stopped the fight because Brandon Robinson got a headbutt at a broken orbital bone. That was a fight of the year in Philly. That received the Briscoe Award, all types of stuff. Then Calvin Henderson came to our gym to spar Atifo Burlton to get ready for the David Morrell fight. So that was like I know Calvin Henderson real well. He's not a chump at all. You see what I mean? So the fact that Najee Lopez completely broke him down and packed him up like that, effortlessly too.
Right.
It looked easy. I'm not gonna say effortlessly, but
listen, it looked effortless to me. It looked like whatever he wanted to do, he did. That's what it looked like. It looked like whatever he wanted to do, he did. He didn't work too hard. Like he let his hand. And Ezra looked like that tonight too. Ezra looked like that. Like what he wanted to do, he did. He had a game opponent in there too, man. A game opponent, Steve Woodall, I think is his name. He had a very game opponent, bro, and he got him out of there, bro. The corner jumped in there like, all right, man, you got it. I think Ezra's gonna he's gonna be part of some big fights in the light heavyweight division, 100%. Some big ones.
That's fine. I was gonna name my son. Ezra too.
Ezra, that's an ill name.
Yeah. I think like in Hebrew that means like a.
Oh yeah, Malik Scott trained him.
But anonymous, I think that means like helper or something. Help or one of them. Something. But anyways, that was a name that I was highly considering before I took Micah. But Anonymous says you're not gonna like this, Mark, but he's trained by Malik Scott. I don't. Anonymous tried.
What you got with Malik?
I don't have anything against Malik Scott. I don't personally. I really don't. But and I seen him do an interview with Radio Raheem. I think it was either today that it dropped. Or yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And he was talking about his whole dynamic with Deontay Wilder. First of all, you know what I mean? I love the friendship that they got. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were able to remain friends even after having, their losses back-to-back in the pros, it's dope because that could have easily been a situation where it fucked up their relationship. But the fact that they're still brothers after that is dope. But I was heavily critical of the game plans that he was putting together for Deontay Wilder in these fights that he had with Joseph Parker, with Julie Zhang. You know what I mean? Something leads me to believe that it may have been a combination of, Deontay Wilder just being a damaged fighter as well. I do think that trilogy with Fury did take a toll on him. And I think that there's things that Wilder has lost, as a result of receiving that punishment from, that Wilder trilogy, balance issues, not committing to his right hand. It just, and not responding well to shots like he previously did. It just makes me feel like he may be a shot fighter as well, just like I was saying about Earl Spence. But, I do think like the game plan that he had put together for Joseph Parker, like, circling and just being up against the ropes and trying to walk him into shots when Deontay Wilder has never been that type of fighter. I just thought it was horrible game planning in my opinion. So that's why I was heavily critical of him. And me being a big Deontay Wilder fan coming up, it was disappointing and very frustrating to see him carry out that game plan when for years, 10 title defenses, we've seen him win one way. So the fact that you're trying to change this guy into being like this outboxer when he's just been a 1-2, put you to sleep type of fighter who wasn't really big on skills, just big on his jab and right hand. I just don't understand why they went that route. I'm not really into reinventing the wheel, especially when fighters are when they started late, like Fabio Wardley, and are in their late 30s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we doing? And like while he was at the peak of his career, he didn't necessarily need them skills. He had a God-given right hand. So why change that? Now, if there's things you want to add, to like disguise the right hand to just get a better landing percentage on it, all right, cool. But like trying to add footwork and setting traps, and it's like, I see what you're doing, Malik. You're a knowledgeable guy. You know boxing. You know what I'm saying? I never said that he didn't know boxing, but you gotta know, and this may be him just being inexperienced as a coach. Maybe he learned from this and become better. There's some fighters that you really can't change, and you shouldn't be looking to change because what they do is what's gonna get them the victories that they're looking to get. You feel what I'm saying? It's like
that special sauce that he's unorthodox, and I agree with you. It was a bad game plan, and I think it was ego. I think Malik Scott wanted to show the world that he was a great trainer more than get Deontay Wilder back winning and get him in the conversation, which was Anthony Joshua and all those big fights that were on the horizon. He wanted to show the world that I can teach this man how to box. Nobody taught him how to box. That's all. He needed somebody. He wanted to show the world that he can change Deontay Wilder from what people perceive him to be this. I mean, the man was comparing him to Muhammad Ali and saying that this dude had more skills than Muhammad Ali. He said crazy
Who said
thing.
That?
Malik Scott in a tweet, bro.
He said that Wilder more skilled than Muhammad Ali.
He said he has more skills than Muhammad Ali inside the ring and has lived a harder life outside the ring, 10 times harder life than outside the ring. Muhammad Ali. It was ridiculous, bro.
He said that.
Brother, hold on.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I don't like him at all. I think economists might be right. That should have thrown me over the edge. I'm not even going to front.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you talking about?
You mean a harder life than Ali? How the fuck would you know that?
Yeah, bro. Like, to me, it's just like you drank your Kool-Aid. I don't think Deontay would have thought that. You put that in that man's head and look at how he fought Joseph Parker. And then when you hear him say that, look at how he fought Joseph Parker, and you have your answers right there. This man was trying to sit there, be on his jabs, float like a butterfly, right? All around the ring, sting like a bee. It was just nonsense. It was nonsense, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, there's no way that, bro. If I run into that,
Coach Malachi right now in True Media Sports was just talking about it. You know what I mean, on his live. He was just cooking this dude. Like,
bro, it's a difference between bigging your homie up and then just being delusional. You feel what I'm saying? That just let me know, and I've been refraining from saying this, but he just kissing Wilder ass for $1. That's what it sounds like. Ain't no way you saying that he got more skills than Muhammad Ali. That's cap, first of all.
I don't even understand how you come to that conclusion and even say that out your face.
Right. And what's even more confusing is that you saying that he had a harder life than Muhammad Ali. Did you see the time that Muhammad Ali came up in and what he had to face?
Bro, he had to go against the government, bro. They were trying to send him to Vietnam, bro, on television. Took his whole career away from him. What are you talking about?
He was
made a movie on the nigga. What the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, that was. I mean, him saying that's very, very fucking ignorant. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, he said crazy things, man, and I understand where you're coming from. As far as he goes, I was saying the same thing. I was out there saying the same thing. Like, you need to get him out of here, Deontay. You need to get Malik Scott out of here.
Yeah, he did. I'm glad he
Yeah.
did. You know what I mean? If that's your homie, just keep him your homie. You know what I mean? And for real, for him, you know, back to that ego standpoint that you had, him saying that nobody taught him how to box, that's completely disrespectful towards Mark Breland, first of all. You know what I mean? Like Mark Breland, you know, he had his time.
Go to I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm gonna read it to you, right? Word for word, okay?
Yeah, read it. Yeah, read it.
Malik Scott has made controversial comparisons between Deontay Wilder and Muhammad Ali, stating that, I quote, a prime Wilder would beat a prime Ali due to Wilder's unseen power. And then Scott arguments focus on Wilder's concussive power, which he believes Ali never faced in his prime. And in his belief in Wilder's skill in fighting opponents who use lateral movement. However, Scott also downplayed some of these comments at the same time, clarifying that the 10 times more skilled quote, he said 10 times more skilled. Okay, so he said the 10 times more skilled quote was sarcastic, and that he also respects Ali's legacies and considers Wilder to be the closest thing to Ali in terms of character and battles outside the ring. Yeah, bro. He said he was 10 times more skilled, but now he's saying he was being sarcastic. You wouldn't be sarcastic, bro. You put that.
Why would you be sarcastic? Why would you even be that sarcastic?
You're not being sarcastic, bro. You meant that dumb shit.
Yeah,
you meant that dumb shit. That was no reason to even say that. You weren't joking. You weren't laughing. You weren't smiling when you said it. You were keeping it 100. And
he feels like I'm not gonna be mad at him saying that he believes Prime Wilder beat Ali. That's an opinion. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But to say that Muhammad Ali didn't face like a big puncher like Deontay Wilder, that's crazy because we got more, you know, rest in peace to George Foreman. We not about to act like he wasn't one of the biggest punchers of all time. So that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And wait, what's this? Did Muhammad Ali fight Ernie Shavers? Or was that?
No, did he? Did he fight Ernie Shavers? Oh, hold on.
He did.
You fought him?
Yeah, they fought in 1977. I knew I wasn't tripping. I remember watching that fight a while back. So you talking about when you talk about the biggest punches of all time, they fought at Madison Square Garden, September 29th of 1977. Muhammad Ali beat him by unanimous decision back in the 15-round era. So, and that was Muhammad Ali's 10th title defense with the WBC and his 10th title defense by the WBA. So, right. When you talk about the biggest punches of all time, you bringing up George Foreman. You
right.
bringing up Ernie Shavers. Damn near everybody in their mind bring up Ernie Shavers. A lot of historians bring up Ernie Shavers when you talk about the biggest punches of all time. That's a ridiculous statement. Now, if you feel like Wilder punched harder than him, again, that's an opinion. But to say that he hasn't faced a puncher like a concussive puncher like Deontay Wilder,
right?
Oh, man, stop it. Joe Frazier was a hell of a puncher too. So that's just ridiculous. I don't know where he got that from. Like, if that's your homie, that's your homie. You know what I mean? He knocked you out at the end of the day. So you probably know some shit we don't. But like, come on, bro.
That's why I used to think like he wanted
and you
Deontay to be better than him by that much.
And he low key took
yes.
too. Like, stop it. Like you had your guard up. He didn't even fully land the punch through the guard. Like you act like you could have got up, but you act like you couldn't. Like, stop it. Cut it out, man.
He wanted Deontay Wilder to be this legendary fighter that he fought, in my opinion. Like, he wanted him to be this, the reason I look like that is because y'all don't know how great he is. You know what I'm saying? He's even better than Ali. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I fought a guy better than Ali. Like, shut up, bro. Stop.
And I'm somebody who defend Wilder consistently. Like, I have a history of defending Deontay Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
That right there, that's ridiculous. And that's not even no shade at Wilder. That's just Malik Scott. He fucking bugging. Yeah, he said Lorenzo said Sonny Liston too. Damn, I forgot how.
Yeah, Sonny
Liston, I forgot about Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was putting shit out in his day. So that's a fact. Anonymous said out his rabbit ass
mind. Yeah, man. But tonight he had a good fighter in the ring, man. He had Ezra Taylor. Ezra looked good. If that's what y'all working on, man, Ezra looked good, man. Like, and I think, like you said earlier, he knows about boxing. He's probably a good trainer, but I just think with Deontay Wilder, he bit off more than he can chew. And listen, Deontay Wilder has a history of being stubborn, of not being easy to teach like that. You got to work with him with where he's at. You got to help him be better at what he's doing. You can't get caught up in your boxing fundamentals and get that dude move. It's not going to work, and it didn't work. And we'll see if he's returned. I don't know. What do you think about this Deontay Wilder's return? Are you optimistic about this Deontay Wilder getting some big fights in the heavyweight division and making it happen? How you feel about this Deontay Wilder?
So I had created a whole live about it. Like, what was it? 3 days ago, where like I was doing like a little bit, and I spoke to people. Most likely, it's not going in that direction according to the people that I spoke to behind the scenes. But I was hearing what Deontay Wilder had to say. He said that he had a contract signed. Ray Davis said Ken Norton had power and beat Ali. Okay, yeah. Ken Norton had some power for sure. But Deontay Wilder did an interview with that streamer, his name Neon or whatever. He said that he had a contract signed. He was fighting in January, and he wasn't going to say too much, but two-time. So I'm thinking that he's speaking about, fighting for a title. Now, the Ring Magazine announced that EJ Caballero is going to be coming back January 10th, a homecoming in Germany.
Ooh, you think no way?
He's currently the WBC interim champion of the world, right?
Right.
Cool. So I was thinking, like, there's a possibility that these two guys might fight. You know what I'm saying? Just putting two and two together, nothing confirmed, but I hope it's not Caballero.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I hope that it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's a horrible style matchup. And to be real with you, I just don't think that Deontay Wilder has what it takes at this current moment. You know what I mean? With what he has left to compete with the elite level guys. Like, look, man, he fought two of the elite level guys in his most recent outings. Joseph Parker, Julie Zhang. And Julie Zhang went down the drain since Caballero packed him. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what are you doing? Because and then your most recent fight where you got the stoppage against Herndon, you didn't look impressive in that fight neither. You look like a shell of yourself. Nothing really improved with Deontay Wilder, which makes me more confident in my belief that he's a shot fighter. Yeah. And some people have different, thresholds than others. Some people could have tough fights throughout their whole career and be fine. There's people that, could change throughout the course of 3 fights, 5 fights, 10 fights. There's people that literally change off of 1 fight. You see what I'm saying? I think the trilogy that he had with Tyson Fury, specifically the second and the third fight, really changed Deontay Wilder in terms of punch resistance, his balance, his him being gun-shy, not following through his punches how he usually does. The mushrooms, could that have had an effect on his mentality? Yes, but I really think it was the damage that he sustained in the ring.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that played a part. You feel what I mean? And I think that Wilder was trying to figure it out himself instead of just facing the reality that he's on a decline. You see what
Wilder's been making excuses. Wilder has gotten, salute to Wilder. You know what I mean? I respect everything he stands for, taking care of his family, being that dude. But he doesn't do accountability well. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it was my fault. I need to do more. He does fire this guy, move this guy around. My team, snakes in my and cut my grass low. He does all that. You know what I mean? I never seen him just take ownership enough to believe that he's going to improve as a fighter. Because how do you improve without taking ownership and accountability with what you need? It's hard to do it. Some people might say impossible. And he's never been that guy to embrace that part of himself, to say that I'm a new fighter. I started late, and more than likely, I don't have this shit down. And if I'm coming up short somewhere, it's not. I can see if I box ever since I was 9, and you want to be overconfident. But come on, bro, be humble. It's okay. You don't got this. You got a badass right hand. You got a decent jab when it's trained properly. You can use that jab to set up the right hand, right? And you're somewhat athletic. You're athletic, right? Other than that, you got to fight the right way. You have to fight a certain way based off of your skill set to be as successful as you've been. You're not just you're not just anybody. And so if you fall short against a Tyson Fury, take that ownership. Hey man, that dude's just a better boxer than me, man. and he's way bigger than me. He was leaning on me. Man, that's just a hard fight, bro. I'm on 200. I'm at my best. I'm 219 pounds, 220. That's where I'm my best. I'm fighting a 280-pound dude. It's gonna be an issue for me who can move around and box like that. That's what take ownership. But no, you fire brilliant. You move around this guy. You bring in this guy. I mean, come on, bro. It's not gonna work out.
I think that Wilder, when he was at like the peak of his power, and if you really listen to Deontay Wilder, I felt like he got very arrogant at one point in time in his career, just looking back on certain things, because I remember he was bragging about, like, you know, him purposely cutting corners and still having successful results. Like, I remember him saying, like, and, you know, not to get like too crazy, but he said this publicly. He said that he had sex in the locker room before a fight. I don't even know how that's possible, but he said he did. He said he had third-degree burns, and he had like a metal rod in his arm, and he bent it during the fight and still was able to get the victory. And
you know, let me fix this real quick. Go ahead, keep talking. I got this.
Yeah. So he kept saying how, like, no matter what he does, he always has success. And you know, it got to. He was also open about not being the most skilled guy and not having the most technique or whatever, but the fact that he had punching power, he was always game, which was true, especially at, you know, him at his peak. That was true. But I started to feel like he let that get to his head, you know, and he also, and I think he had people around him that was enabling that shit. You know what I mean? Because I genuinely feel like if you have yes men around you, and if you're doing really well in boxing, there's people that's, you know, gonna have trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna say this: if you got a bunch of yes men around you and you happen to be successful in boxing, you know, you're gonna get like this God complex where you feel like you always in the right, and you know it's never your fault. And I think that's what was going on with Deontay. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that, you know, he started with Mark Breland from the very beginning. And you know, he had that, you know, those fights where I think those fights where he showed he was human, aka the Tyson Fury fights, I think he started to feel like he was embarrassed for going through those losses because he felt like he genuinely couldn't experience it. I think that his ego was so inflated that when he was embarrassed, you know, with those losses against Tyson Fury, I think he started to point fingers at everybody else, you know, and that was the reason why he lost. He didn't lose because of his approach. He didn't lose because, you know, he was the less, you know, skilled guy. I think that, you know, he was trying to blame it on everybody else to make it seem like, you know, that's the only way he could be faded. And, you know, I still feel a way about that Mark Breland situation. You know what I mean? Saying that, you know, he spiked his water and
it's crazy.
You know, crazy stuff like that. That was insane to me. You know what I'm saying?
There was no reason to go there, bro. It was just like it showed he had like a mental breakdown, bro, in front of the world with that nonsense. Your king is well, and bro, you ain't my king if you don't get out my face, bro. Like relax.
I didn't want to say that, but I remember him saying that too. I'm a king.
Yeah, he said your king. He's like your king is well. Don't worry about it. And I was like, hey, bro, I know you just need to calm down, bro, and just get back to the boxing, bro. You're doing a lot right now. You know what I'm saying? I had to fall back off him a little bit when he was going on those rants a little bit because it was just like you could see that he just couldn't. Look how Canelo dealt with the Terrence Crawford loss. That's how you do it. Hey, bro, my life is great. I've made a lot of money. I've done a lot of things in my legacy, man. Terrence was just better than me tonight, man. You know, here comes Ellie Sek back. Hey, man, I had to score you winning the fight. Hey, Ellie. Hey, you don't gotta do that, bro. I lost the fight, bro. You don't gotta sit there and do that. You know what I mean? He just got Ellie together right there. You don't do that. I'm good. My ego is not going to be blown away because I lost against Terrence Crawford. He's possibly the best fighter of this era. I didn't lose against some poop hut.
I ain't gonna lie. That I gained some respect for Canelo after that. You know what I mean? Because he could have easily been like, oh, you know what I mean? I did what I could. The judges didn't see it my way. Like he could have easily took that approach where he was like, you know what I mean? Like I thought I did enough to win the fight, and all the Canelo fans would have stood behind him, like, yeah. We thought Canelo, even if they knew that he was.
Yeah, Turkey robbed him. It was Turkey. I told you not to deal. That's what you get for dealing with Turkey.
They would have came up with all different angles, but Canelo, he's secure enough within himself to know
that he's a good fighter, but Terrence Crawford happened to be the better one that night. And I don't think Wilder really has that in him. You feel what I'm saying? I think that Tyson Fury situation really fucked with his mental. And I remember him saying like all this king shit, like, "Oh, I'm a king," and I remember him saying like, "I'm anointed by, I'm anointed by God."
My grandmother
like,
told me.
Like, I'm like, bro, what? It'd be like hard for me to like.
It's one thing to like sell something, but it's another thing when I start thinking you're drinking the Kool-Aid. When I start believing like you really believe it, that you're not just being entertaining. When I can see like, oh man, this dude's on some shit. You know what I mean? Like you look at him like, oh, he really on some shit, bro.
I think that was his downfall for real. That him drinking the Kool-Aid, like his how can you say, like, it's really his arrogance.
Yeah.
I think his arrogance was really his downfall, man. Like him thinking, and I'm not saying to not think highly of yourself. You definitely want to, have that, but at the same time, when it's time to, admit that you did something wrong, you should. When it's time to take accountability, you should.
Right.
Pointing the finger at other people to just maintain your level of arrogance, that's insane to me. You feel me? And I can't really get on board with shit like that. So yeah. Like if you had your things that you said about Fury, like, oh, you know what I mean, he was a drug cheat, he manipulated the gloves. All right, but you should have on your own team.
Yo, you went crazy. That's when it looked bad. That's when Fury was able to sit back and be like, look what he doing his team, bro. I ain't gonna defend. I don't gotta defend myself. Look what he doing his own team. He bugging clearly. He's clearly bugging, man. He needs help. He not dealing with the losses good. And Fury started to be like, hey man, I was just on drugs. I know how that feels, bro. I'm going to be sensitive to that, man. God bless that dude, bro. He's having a mental breakdown. He's having a hard time dealing with some reality.
When you willing to throw your own people under the bus to save like your to maintain like your arrogance, like that's crazy.
Yeah, fragile ego, man. Fragile ego. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. But I don't know about his return either, bro. I think he needs to chill. If Algie Caballero is on the menu, bad news, bro. We about to see him. Bad news, bro. It's not going to be a good look for him at all, bro. He needs to stay away from all those guys, bro. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, don't do it. Fight Jared Anderson or something, or fight.
That's really his best bet, and that might be a bad one for him too.
That one too, exactly. But at least fight somebody who may be struggling with some mental situations as well, just like you are. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you got to do, because if you keep on pushing it, and if you jump in the ring with a G Caballero, you're back to drinking your Kool-Aid. You're doing the Kool-Aid thing again. You're not being real with yourself, and you don't got a team around you that's telling you the truth. You don't got a team around you, bro. Like your team should be letting you know you're not ready for this. Not built off your last fight, at least. Off your last fight, that ain't it. I'm
gonna say Wilder pride definitely killing him too, because if he truly was confident, like how he was putting it out there, it was showing his performances. Like when I'm seeing him perform against Parker, Zhang, Herndon, I'm seeing a guy who not really sure of himself,
right?
Who's doubting himself, who's questioning himself in there. You know what I mean? Like it don't give confidence when he's in there. So I think that like he's putting up like this wall right now. Like he wants you to believe that he's carrying it this way, but his actions showing otherwise. Like if he felt like he was confident, he was really back, and the killer instinct back in it, he would at least show it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not showing when he gets in there with them guys. And Caballero, he got a different type of momentum behind him right now.
Yeah, his body
that's about anybody.
He gonna fold that dude, bro. The way he coming right now, bro. G Caballero is the boogeyman in the heavyweight division from my perspective. He's a scary guy. He's every heavyweight's worst nightmare. What? He takes away your gas. You're in the ring and you can't breathe, bro. And you're fighting a dude who can punch. That's your worst nightmare, bro. To be sitting there sucking air, you know what I'm saying? While a dude is trying to put you out of there. He's a nightmare. He's a boogeyman. He's the last guy on the to-do list, bro. You don't do him just without no real reward. You know what I mean? High risk. You got to get high reward. You know what I mean? Money being one of them for sure. Money being one of them. So if Deontay going to jump in there, hey, bro,
I think after what people seen what he did to Zhang, they don't want to go through that, bro. Real shit. Like the way he had Zhang looking he had Zhang in there like grimacing.
Yeah.
He really that was a different type of like he brought the bitch out of Zhang.
No, it looked low key like Zhang kind of put like he took a knee and then Zhang kind of like put his hand out like chill.
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know what I'm saying? Like he took a knee and he put his hand out like yo, chill. Chill, you got it.
You wilding right now? So you like yo, bro, just like let me breathe, my nigga.
Exactly.
Like you got it, bro.
Body shots, bro. You diabolical, bro. Hold up, man. Just give me a minute.
Like I ain't ever seen no shit like this in my life.
Just knock me out. You don't know how to punch niggas in their head, bro? Damn, bro. What the hell are you doing to me out here, bro? This is diabolical, bro. I'm just chill. You got it, bro. You got it.
Zane got banged. Pause.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
he be tripping. I don't know who this is, but let me see. I think that's Robert Jenkins. I ain't got time for Robert Jenkins, bro.
Am I talking crazy?
But yeah, Bang be like, he said, I'm going to bang you. I'm going to bang you. Man, Fabio wasn't with none of that shit. He dropped Fabio. Fabio was like, all right, man, let me go ahead and let
me just do what I'm supposed to do, man. I was playing.
I ain't about to be playing with you no more. Man, you could tell how the way Zane got hit to the body, he never been hit to the body a day in his life, bro.
I knew he was going out like that, though. I called it. I was like, he gonna get destroyed to the body. He too big and slow, bro. That body gonna be there. It's gonna be like a big heavy bag.
I was saying how Zhang, I said Zhang definitely got a puncher's chance. You know what I mean? He might be able to hit Fabio or something, but I picked Fabio to win. I'm like, yeah, he go to that body. He gonna take that gas away from Zhang early because Zhang gas out early without getting hit to the body.
Right.
So I can only imagine if you put some body shots together, how fast he'll diminish him. There you go.
He brought it. He really sat Zhang down. Zhang didn't know what to do. Yeah, bro. He knew what to do, not get up. He knew exactly what to do, bro. Sit down here on the floor.
But damn, bro. The way old head realized he was old quick. You know how like
he was like, I'm 42 years old. I don't got time for this bullshit. Don't ask
when those old heads be punching on them young dudes, they be feeling like they young as shit. Then when they run into that wrong young dude,
yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, they be like they start
exactly. You start to realize I don't got time to be sitting here letting some little nigga just punch up on me like this, bro. I ain't here for that shit.
Man, Zane was like, man, fuck that. I got kids.
Yeah, bro.
That's exactly what he said.
Today. Can't do this with you, bro.
Has he been back since then?
No, he's supposed to. I thought he was in negotiations with Chisora. That's what I was hearing with Derek Chisora. I thought he was going to retire, but I heard he was in negotiation with Chisora. But then I see Chisora and White talking tonight, so I don't know.
He said, "Man, fuck that. I'm about to fight another 40-year-old."
Yeah, I think that nigga opened up a restaurant, like a Chinese restaurant in New York or something. That nigga, listen, he opened up, he checked it, he diversified the portfolio, bro. It was like, I got good money. Let me open up a business. I think I'm a business owner, bro.
Man, that shit had him thinking long term. Hit him up. You start thinking long term. Oh yeah,
bro. I told him, I was like, yeah, I said that when I seen Ajit Caballero put hands on I'm gonna tell you who it was that let me know like this guy's gonna be different. Who was it?
Frank Sanchez?
Frank Sanchez was one of them, but there was another one. No, the Russian dude, Magmadov. When I seen what he did to Magmadov,
he packed him.
Yup. I was like, yo, this is gonna be different. They're gonna have a hard time dealing with this. This is gonna be different. And when he did it to Frank Sanchez, I said, oh, this is what he does. You know what I'm saying? I thought maybe with Magomedov that it was like that was a strategy for that big dude. But when I seen him do it to Frank Sanchez, I said, oh no, this is what this dude do. He gonna tear your body up. Like this is what he does. They gonna hate him. These heavyweights are gonna hate this dude, bro. I'm telling you, even Alexander Usyk in the back of his mind's like, yeah, I'm so happy I really ain't gotta fight you. Like I could fight Fabio real quick and get about. Even Usyk got to look at him like, I don't want to really box this dude. I don't want to deal with that, bro. I don't want to deal with somebody punching me in my stomach like that over and over and over and over again. Nah, dog.
Yeah, bro. And he been knocking people out for 3 years straight. Like he hit a stride and he tripping right now. So
Yeah. He's
yeah,
gonna be
man.
a problem. He's gonna be a problem. I think he's gonna be a
You
big
need to be a
problem.
little bit more active though.
Yeah.
That's
But I
why.
also think people don't want to fight him. I bet you.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? I was watching an old interview from Floyd Mayweather. Let me see if I can find that shit. But I was watching it on Instagram and he was saying something like I think they posted it on the group chat. Let me see where it's at. It was like a young Floyd. And Floyd was like, look, man, like he was trying to get fights with Winky, right? Oh, there it go, right here. So this is what I say. And I've been saying
about fighting Delaware, you wind up fighting Brucelis, who's not even ranked. You talk then about fighting Winky Wright, and you wind up fighting Sharmba Mitchell. I mean, is there a kind of a bait and switch here? You talk about fighting stars, and you wind up fighting guys who are not as big.
It's not that I'm not going to fight the big fights. It's just that I can't force these guys to fight me. So even though these guys like Winky Wright don't want to fight, Shane Mosley don't want to fight, Zab Judah don't want to fight, that's not going to put my career on hold. I have a job to do. So stay active. If you can't fight the best, you fight the guy that's right under the best. If you can't fight those guys, you fight the guy that's right up under those guys.
You talk about fighting.
So that's what I say. Like if you can't get them big names in the ring, go ahead and knock out a bum or two. Fuck it.
Yep.
That's what I say. You got the resources to do it. You getting enough money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put some money up. You know what I mean? Stay sharp, bro. If you can't beat them guys, beat the guys. If you can't get those guys, get the guys that's below them. You can't get those guys, get the guys that's below them.
Some people would say that's what Jerron did, bro. You know what I mean? That's what
he had to do. That's what he had. Like I remember that personally. Like when Jerron Ennis was coming up, when he was fighting at the arena and stuff like that. The reason why he got so many fights was because he was like, all right, these guys don't want to, because even people like in the local area didn't want to fight Boots. Like when he was coming up and he was like a prospect, when he had like 10, 15 fights, then nobody from Philly want to fight him. The only one that gave him an opportunity was Raymond Serrano. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, man, ain't nobody want to fight him. So he still busy. And he's still sharp, and it paid off. So they're like, yeah, he got 35 fights, and he ain't fight nobody. But it's like, bro, I would rather be in that situation than be on the shelf accumulating rust. And then when I get in there with somebody who's actually notable, then my tools ain't sharp. Like, oh, fuck all that.
Yeah, activity is a killer of lack of activity kills these fighters, man.
You know what they say? Let's say if Boots he didn't, he come off a 2-year layoff or a 1.5-year layoff, and he fight somebody notable, and he look like shit. Oh man, guys need to stay more active. But when they say active, you saying that he ain't fight nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can't have it both ways. You feel me? So yeah, but I remember like Philly people ain't want to fight Boots, so he had to fight guys who was from North Carolina, Virginia, or wherever. You know what I mean? Had to fly people out from Argentina. And that's just what he had to do.
High risk, low reward. So you get that reward thing together until you make it make sense. It's hard to get good fights when you're a good fighter, bro. It's hard to get fights.
J Cash said, take a little bum of the month tour. Yeah, who was that did that? Joe Lewis? Who did that? Somebody did that. They had a bum of the month tour where they literally was just beating up on guys just to stay active. Let me see.
Bum on the month tour. Joe Lewis is what he said. Yeah, Anonymous said that. Yep. Joe Lewis.
The Joe Lewis Bum of the Month Club was a media created term for the period between January 1931 and May of 1939 and May 1941, where Joe Lewis defended his heavyweight title 13 times against a series of challengers. You know what I mean? It was like, whatever. It was an insult from Lewis, but, you know what I mean? That's just what he did to stay active. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to wrap this up, Clay. You got any last words for the people?
Nah, man. It's a pleasure coming up here, Bill, with you, man. I saw you up here, man. I wanted to talk about the fight, man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the building, man. As usual.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming by.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace.
Salute. Shout out to the boy Claymore Rain for coming through and showing love. Shout out to the nation in the mob. You feel what I mean? We're going to get up out of here. It's currently 1:51 in the morning. It was a great live, man. Thank you for everybody that came through and showed love. Y'all go ahead and hit the like button on the way out. That'll be very much appreciated. Like I said, we on the road to 4K. We well into the 3,200 mark. About to hit that 3,300 mark in due time. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification so you'll know every time that I'm going live. I'll be back at y'all with another one tomorrow, 10:30, between 10 to 10:30. Yeah, 10 to 10:30 Eastern Standard Time to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world. Until then, I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.